Welcome in. It's Content Creator Cup Saturday. We're going to follow the arc of our friend, our pal, our Twitter fiend, Skpeso versus Team Captain Twig. I'm Anthony Melm. Got Chaotic Hydra with me, with Testy on production today, thanks to them. And Hydra, you ready to make fun of digits for a couple hours?
I'm a Division 1 hater when it comes to. I'm joking. Love that guy. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time. Honestly, overall, if he can be half as entertaining in Content Creator Cup as he can be on Twitter, which I don't doubt that he can be, I think
Real.
we're gonna be in for a good time. So
That's kind of the big question. Is gonna back up the tweets, right?
Mhm.
That's the hard part. I've
Yeah, exactly.
last week on over on F stream, I did get to see them cast Twig, or excuse me, SK Peso versus Team. I think it was Team Dishonored last week, who they were up
Yeah.
against, and it was a pretty enjoyable one. It was pretty close most of the time, but Sunprod really popped off. And one thing that they were talking about last weekend, they being F and Jorby, that I feel like I've seen with Sunprod forever, is if Sunprod
Mhm.
gets a little bit of confidence, dude
Yep.
plays up there with the best.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I have to fully agree. I think that if you put Sunpride on a team where he's really comfortable with his teammates, then he just has infinite room to do whatever he wants. You know, we see it in other leagues that he competes in, where he plays week 1 and gets a penta. You see him in
Yeah.
your rank queues terrorizing SPL players, and you're like, oh my god, it's this kid again. Like, he just consistently is always putting out some insane levels of gameplay. But I mean, the good vibes gotta help with that. So.
Yeah, the vibes are really good for that team, and that's something that I feel like has been a little more uncommon
Hmm.
for not for Content Cup, but some of the teams were a little bit more kind of thrown together as opposed to a bit more vibey. This Hydra
Oh
guy's
yeah,
bad
no,
at the
for
game.
sure.
I heard the same exact thing.
Oh,
Matter of, I've seen
yeah.
it a couple of
Hmm.
times, obviously.
It's so true. It's so true. Just don't watch me play ADC, and that is because that statement is very true if I'm an
I don't
ADC.
know. I saw you were cooking on a Scotty a couple of days ago.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that was my tank Scotty. That's
Yeah,
fake.
that cooks.
Yeah, the 16-0-20 Scotty game. That was something.
Is there any
But
world where
any
we
other
see
ADC.
any tank Scotties today? I mean, surely not.
I mean, surely not, right? But I mean, I do think we're gonna be seeing some really interesting picks. I know that just from talking with some of the people on Team SK Peso, they all have some really interesting pocket picks they've been wanting to try out for a minute. So maybe we see some cool things come out. Some weird ADC picks might happen. Some weird mid laners might happen. Maybe they all build Blackthorn Hammer because the item's really overstated right now. So we'll see. We'll see.
I feel like we're seeing everybody build Blackthorn Hammer, especially in the jungle.
Hmm.
Even sometimes, I almost feel like to a fault. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong with that, but I feel like we're seeing it rushed on everybody, and a lot of times
Hmm.
it's leaving me wonder if, like, could you have gone a more high value pick early? Will it actually pay off? I think that actually happened last weekend for Team Dishonored, where they had rushed up. They had like 3 Blackthorn Hammers, and they just weren't fighting well at one point.
Yeah. I think the item is really good, but I think a lot of people, you're gonna see on Twitter like, oh, this item's OP, you
Yeah.
gotta build it or you're throwing. And I don't know if it's like that insane. I see a lot of junglers that maybe might be better with some other picks, or other items. Like you'll see like Dodgy rush Blackthorn, and you're like, maybe it's okay on her. You'll see like Lance with Blackthorn, it's really good on him, stuff like that. But other teams, they're just trying to like shove it in there and like shove it in their build and hope for the best. But that item strength is really gonna come from like it gives you 5 more power than Jotun's, which is, always nice. You're losing a little bit of flat pen, but you're getting 350 HP with that item. That's more than a full Thebes, by the way. So,
That's insane.
so you're turning your jungler into this thing that like, oh, like it has cooldown, and it might dive to that position to this thing like, oh, how do we kill this jungler with Blackthorn built, and we have devs built, we have Book of Thoth built, we have tablet early. I'm a solo laner with no damage. Like realistically, like that's where the strengthening item's really gonna lie. So I want to see these teams really try and capitalize on that fact of like, oh, like I'm an early game jungler, I can get really active on the map, and see what they can do with that Blackthorn Hammer if they do choose to build it.
I'm not to interrupt you or derail too much. This is too funny
Mm-hmm.
to not point out. They're showing SK Peso stream
God.
on Smite Game as the main stream with the fish
Oh,
thing
Lord.
popping up. So people were typing fish in Smite Game chat. And I just
They
think
got
that's so
baited.
hysterical.
They got baited. Listen, I'm
my
a
God.
D1 fisher. I'm a D1 fisher in this chat. I catch everything from tires to crowns. So I will say, if you guys have not went over to Skpeso's Twitch. Go over there, type in the command of fish, and see what you catch. It's really enjoyable.
All right, picks and bans is up. Put the fish down. Pick up the picks and bans. April, Amas,
never
for
stop
coming.
fishing.
Perfect time to get in for picks and bans. The Terra, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like Terra was, that buff to Terra was just so absurd, man. Like,
Oh, it was insane, actually. Even before, so like I'm a support main, and I've been saying that Terra was the best support in the game for a while. She may be a little harder to play, and I think that's why they buffed her. But you know, now that the people that could play her before just said, "Oh, like she's insane now. Like this is great," and we see a Wukong ban on the other side as well for Skpeso. So
I remember you actually saying during the Glacier Finals for AGL, it was very much so like Terra was the win con in picks and bans for everybody, and this was 2 patches ago.
yeah,
So
literally.
making her the best character in the game, you know, a little bit questionable, but it does just warrant her a
Yeah.
first ban spot. It does leave some other stuff open though, and with Skpeso banning out the Sun Wukong, that's taking away one of the few characters that Twig has looked comfortable on in that solo lane. Because Twig is not, I mean, Twig's Twig, always gonna Twig, always gonna be good.
True.
There's the lore of the dual player and all that, but you know, still in solo, not as comfortable. And take away gods where it can function a bit better, and you make it even harder.
It's true, and it's also namely one of the picks that that Super Deathfang doesn't really like to gravitate towards. He can play it, but he much prefers to play anything else. We're gonna see a Camulus band come out as well. That's gonna just be a really solid dive character. Again, it comes with that Blackthorn Hammer Soul Leader build that we've been seeing a lot in the jungle. It's a really good use of that kind of build, and what better way to like dive a backliner than saying, "Hey, I'm in the air, I'm CC immune, I can chase you down into your T2 tower and not take damage." It's a really good ban out of them. And then we see a Sobek ban also, so we're gonna see Sobek and Terra banned away, 2 of the top premier supports right now, and we see an Artemis ban. Kind of
The
curious
Artemis
about
has
that
been
one.
interesting.
Yeah.
Is that a focus on a carry Artemis, or is it something that's maybe being cooked up for a different lane, you think?
I mean, maybe it slots into the mid lane. Maybe.
Because I'm trying to think of like
yeah.
why you would ban it out, because it hasn't looked unbelievable. And
Yeah.
I want to say Skpeso ran a mid Artemis last week. I could be misremembering things, but I
Yeah.
feel pretty
If
confident.
that's
I
the
remember
case,
Epdot freaking out.
yeah, like, if that's the case, then that's definitely a valid strategy to go towards. We're gonna see Neath picked up for Captain Twig, and then we see a Lancelot pick, and that could flex to solo or jungle. SDF does love to go to that pick if he's just feeling it that day. And we see a Fafnir pickup, again, one of the more recently super overpowered supports in the eyes of all ranked players and Twitter havers. So.
I wonder if the Fafnir is going to be the sort of forgotten about win con of this game, because for me, Fafnir, Yorm, they're so up there right now with all the changes. The things that they can do are just kind of absurd in my brain.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We're gonna see Captain Twig's team counter with Mulan and Nemesis picks. Something that's gonna be shredding frontline, trying to lock some people down, trying to get probably the best of that Lancelot. And we're gonna see how Team Skpeso wants to counter with their picks here. Maybe they take an ADC here. Yeah, the Nem is interesting. I don't think it's a bad pick here. I think it's gonna help you blow up the Fafnir if he's transforming a lot easier.
Ooh.
So, yeah, and the Mulan can also just lock him down as well. And you with the Neath follow up with the Neath ult, Spirit Arrow also, and the Fafnir might get blown up very easily here. That might be their angle.
You need some kind of control over the Fafnir. You can't, you know, Fafnir, we all know what's been happening with Fafnir. He kind of just shows up and appears at 27 minutes and ends the game for whatever team that he's on.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you have some kind of control to actually shut that down and manage him, it works. Some teams were trying to do it. Last weekend, we were seeing teams try to do it with Ganesh cages, Odin cages, whatever it might be, just to kind of stall things out, but it wasn't there. Skpeso grabbing a Medusa and getting a visceral reaction from you.
Yeah, I love this pick. Medusa, some people say that like Charybdis is the best ADC in the game right now. I'm on the Medusa hype train personally. The lane pressure you're lacking with Fafnir, you're gonna make up for with this Medusa. It's a really good mid game and late game comp. You know, you have that Medusa that has a ton of damage, a ton of shred. You have this Fafnir diving on either a frontliner and shredding their procs by 50%, or a backliner instantly killing them by themselves. And you also see Team Skpeso banning away this Charybdis. Again, something that's also highly contested to be one of the best ADCs in the game. They're looking to jam pressure out of duo lane, maybe win duo early, rotate this. Might be insane.
I love the call of not just the like what they're trying to focus on for picks and bans god-wise, but what they're trying to kind of drain out of the picks and bans from the form of strategy. Because people kind of forget that that really goes a big part into picks and bans. Like, and it's rare I get to actually talk about other games because I'm on my own stream. But in League of Legends, that's a really common thing where there's bans and picks that match. It's sort of the, well, if they pick this and that, then we have to go this and that because this is the response to that properly. And that's how it works at your high levels of play for like LCK and League. But in Smite, that's not really something that's ever translated over completely. But when you do see it, and when teams actually make that work, it works magnificently.
Yeah, we're gonna see an Olaran and Cthulhu ban from Captain Twig. Olaran, I've been seeing him a lot more. Maybe they thought that they'd go for a double ADC comp, focusing with the Fafnir. But man, oh man, okay, Valonic is locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, the Lance is going jungle. The Lance is going jungle. We know that now.
Pack it up, everybody.
We love to see it. One of Super Deathwing's best picks. He's really comfortable in this pick. It lets him pressure out a lot of his lane opponents with it. He's gonna be liking this matchup probably in the Mulan as well. And you see Captain Twig's team respond with a Tiamat, one of the newer like on the up mages as of late.
I feel like Tiamat has been away for a while, but I've kind of wanted it back. I love what Tiamat brings to high level of play because it's one of those characters who I always find so fascinating where they end up with like 60,000 damage, but you maybe saw 20,000 of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which makes it so fun. The RDO switched over to a Maui though to wrap out the team for Captain Twig. I was kind of behind the idea of the RDO. I was really liking the idea of having the cripple into Fafnir, Medusa, Lancelot, but I guess they feel better about the Maui.
Yeah, I mean, I was also like, I was looking at the RDO pick and I was like, that's kind of cheeky. I like it because if Fafnir ever, goes in, he can't get out. But Maui's going to also provide a similar amount of lockdown, but a bigger team fight presence probably than the RDO will. You're not going to be wanting to dive onto a Medusa and you didn't know the mid laner yet, so maybe RDO is a little bit too unsafe of a support pick for them to put in that spot. But Maui going to slot in pretty perfectly, and he's going to be able to rein in a lot of those dashes from the Agni, able to pull him back into this fight, control this Medusa's like pathing as well during team fights, and also if a well-placed ultimate does hit, Lancelot's ult might not be that relevant in your team fight. So I do like the Maui pick overall here.
But yes, SDF is on Team Skpeso, which is going to be problematic for Team Captain Twig. And I think, Twig has already been put through the ringer against a lot of these solo laners throughout the Content Cup so far. I mean, like, it has not been an easy path. I'm sure to your average, like, SPL viewer, it's been sort of laughable. Like, oh, who are these people, Omega lol? But we know.
Exactly.
From the amateur scenes, we know what Twig's been up against. And he hasn't looked bad, but the SDF Bologna, I feel like, is a true... I don't want to say test, because Twig doesn't need to be tested, but it's just... It's a matchup that I'm actually so excited to see how Twig navigates it on this Mulan, because we all know that you're not really going to win the lane in this scenario, so what do you do around that?
I mean, again, yeah, like that's a very good question. Maybe their idea, I think their team comp's really good at locking down one person and really punishing overcommitment, which is an issue that Team Skpeso has struggled with in the past. Maybe they want to try and single out some people early and get a lead rolling to the mid and late game. But I do think maybe we're going to see some pressure thrown to the solo side to try and put this Bologna behind, try and put her down so she can't rotate out and make a big problem. But I mean, I think it's like you said, Twig does not need to be tested. He's been to Worlds Finals like more times than I can blink. So, we all know how good of a player he is, but this is probably his biggest obstacle that he's going to be faced with in this whole lane yet. So I'm really interested to see how he overcomes this this challenge being put in front of him.
That's one of the things I've enjoyed so much about the Content Cup. I mean, there's all the the blah blah blah, the yada yada yadas about the Content Cup, but the fun stuff for me has been getting to watch matchups that I didn't think we were going to see until we'd be deep into Smite 2.
Yeah,
and we're getting to see it kind of early, and with more like up on Saturday having that Smite 2 tournament, we'll get to see even more of that. But it is exciting. Yeah, Hydra is always cooking while casting.
It's true. Kitchen's right there.
Yeah. Dude, with a kitchen that close, how can you not cook?
Cannot be cooking.
I've been dying to get Hydra on a cast with me because the way he talks about the analysis he goes through in his like VOD reviews and his streams is so entertaining to hear. I really want to hear it through a casting lens and be able to kind of have that balance. So I'm excited to get in the game and actually see how that's gonna flesh out for us.
It's true. I'm always excited to hop into cast. Always excited for it.
Who do you give it to? Who's got the
Let's see.
advantage team comp wise? Because I feel like for me, I can't bet against SDF Bologna, but you said it, and I agree with you. You don't go to every world championship and not have the ability to carry out of every single lane. Just not going to happen.
It's true. It's true. I think. I mean, and I think Team Captain Twig has a game plan. They want to execute on it. I like their picks towards that game plan. So I do like their team comp. However, I'm familiar with the players on Team Skpeso. I'm very familiar with their game. Their picks are top of the line, top of the meta, top of the ranked lobbies, and just straight up comfort picks for a lot of these players. So I think you're seeing these players on a lot of their best. And I don't know if Team Captain Twig can overcome what these players are bringing when I consider this their best. So I'm gonna give it to Team Skpeso for sure.
I think it's definitely a good call. I will say the Tiamat, I know it's going to be on C-Host most likely. C-Host is one of the more interesting situations for me. We know the rules for Content Cup of having to have SEC and SPL players play off-roll, but C-Host is an interesting one because to me, C-Host is at that level of player when they're at their best, but obviously doesn't fall under that category. So they get to play in a role where they dominate everywhere. So they've been really fun to watch.
Yeah, no, for sure. Love C-Host.
Hilarious.
He is a mine, exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah, him now, man. He is a mine. Respectfully.
That's
Well, not
so
right now
great.
because I got him. He's mine right now. Hey, Galeria, you see me, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's mine right now. So. You can have him on weekends. Not gonna lie, you can have. Yeah, it's fine. But but yeah, no. I think I am excited to see how these teams play the map, though. I think that's probably a big difference maker for this set. I want to see what sides of the map they're playing. If we're gonna see Bull Demon prioritize at all, or maybe they're gonna just be Jazzberry jamming down duo. Maybe that might be an angle as well. But both
Jazzberry
teams
jamming down duo. That's a banger of a line.
Yeah, exactly. But both these teams have multiple ways that they can play the game. They're not really one-noted, which you're gonna see a lot of like multifaceted teams in a higher level comp. You know, maybe if one thing doesn't work out, they can pivot their strategy, you know, mid-game. And both of these team comps and these players will allow for a lot of room for you to do just that. So we can see maybe if they want to camp Super Death Fang and it doesn't work out, they can just slam down duo and, you know, stuff like that. So we'll see.
Should be getting in here soon. I'm gonna guess the players didn't put on low spectate delay, so player L, honestly.
Yeah, for real.
But we'll
I'll
get
check
there
my
soon.
Netflix.
I'm excited we get to see the spectator perspective because I know they're doing a lot of the NFL Red Zone stuff on Smite Game, which is really cool to see the different player perspectives. But I'm just such a sucker for the spectator POV and getting to actually see the rotations on the overhead map. Essentially, it's too fun to watch.
I can definitely say from being like on both ends of it, doing the top-down perspective and like watching in game back is just so different. Like you get to see like, oh, like they pathed this way. Here's why they did that. Wow, why did we go this way? We wasted 30 seconds. Like
why did we not call this gank on? He definitely could have gotten that kill. Or why did we commit to this fight? There was no way we were winning.
There's like exactly. Like there's so many things you just see.
Well, we are ready to head into games. So we get to see where everything's going, see if it is normal, see what's cooking up. And it's actually not going to be a Tiamat mid. It's a Tiamat ADC. They did kiss at the Gold Fury. Let's go. Claps around.
Love that.
Oh, another?
Oh.
Wait, they went back for more? That's insane.
Wait. Oh, okay. It's all right now.
Put down the Playboy and pick up a Gold Fury, am I right?
Yeah, no, for real. But Tiamat ADC, I was not expecting to see this today. I mean, Neath mid is definitely a pick that we've been seeing a lot recently. It's the whole reason she got her first nerf ever. And I think she's actually a really good matchup into the Agni as well. She can clear wave and still match that pressure. But the Tiamat ADC angle, I'm really excited to see how this shakes out.
I am too. I feel like it could cook. I mean, C-Host on the Neath is pretty nasty, and like you said, it's pretty common. And the matchup into the Acne, I've always felt like Neath feels great into Acne. Okay, maybe it's Maui ADC, and the War Flag was just a red herring.
It's gonna be Cannoneer second, so it can clear wave faster. That's all they do.
Yeah, exactly. Early on, though, the Maui going to get the stun onto Drunk Diplomat. So they're going to trade out, but interestingly, Tiamat stays so far behind. Look how much damage Drunk Diplomat and Dr. Bojo took just from stepping up that far. That leaves them potentially open to a gank.
And we see a gank heading their way. Sun Prodigy is on the way to this duo lane. Gonna be making his way. There's the blink.
And does get the dash, but not enough damage for the first blood. The beads from TikTok just for some safety as well. They get to step back to the tower and live to see another day. Sunprod, I feel like that's a very by the number Sunprod gank, not overcommitting for anything.
Exactly, it's very, very true. You're gonna see him looking back to his mid lane, trying to get some farm as well. He's not quite a full level down yet. He's trying to fight for some mid pressure here, and if he can get these mid games, he gets to catch up in XP as well. So I like that play by him also. You're pulling this team off Relic really early, taking away her safety in lane. He doesn't secure most of those, unfortunately, but they're gonna go back to mid lane. Just keep farming.
Are you very familiar with Elder's jungle? Because that is somebody who, ooh, hang on, big pull there from Captain Twig, but it might turn around. They're both gonna get real low, but for now it'll stay solo lane things. I respect that pull a lot from Twig onto SDF. I did not expect them to go for that. I thought it was going to be okay, we're both low, let's farm out and go back, but not the case.
It's true.
But yeah, are you familiar with Elder's jungle? It's not a play that
I played against Elder. Oh wait. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, that just happened. Well, I've played against Elder. I think once or twice, probably in OSL, and he's a very, very aggressive player. He likes to do a lot of like backlane flanking, so you can catch a lot of people off guard that way. So he also likes to do in-game. So we're seeing a scepter battle in mid lane, and it seems that Team Skpeso has won the scepter battle. It goes into the landslide. It's gonna gallop away back to his buffs, and we see this Elder invade, as I was just talking about it, trying to leech away any farm that he can.
you're definitely cooking already on it with the invade call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's trying to strip away as much farm as he can here. He's gonna go back to his own double buff pool. But that gank early is what we saw set up for this duo lane fight earlier. We see a knee ulting the duo.
It does hit the Fafnir instead, which is a go button for Skpeso, who dashes on the Ting Tub and gets that purple buff away. So the invade successful off the back of the Neath ult and then catching them out. A good call there to use it to get the farm, but you know, again, I said this with Sunprod, but not overcommitting then.
Yeah, I think you're happy with that invade. Like, you know, you're like, oh, like we got their purple, we have both our buffs up right now. Our jungler isn't as fed as we want him to be right now. Their jungler should be hitting 5, ours is still level 4 right now. So let's just chill. We don't know where the Nemesis is either way. So I love the call to like get aggressive there and just immediately just put the brakes on it. You see a solo lane fight. They're just gonna slap each other for a little bit. It's fine. Nothing really should come of this.
The bane of every caster is the solo lane 1v1s where they get low. SDF's taken a lot, but with the mana of Twig, perhaps SDF wants it to be that way. Maybe draw out more. It doesn't have too much of an edge, but it's there and it's worth considering. Twig will just force him away. The solo lane's going to be interesting, because one thing that you've pointed out is that Elder likes to play flanking characters. Nemesis is very much that, and you talked about potentially locking down this Bellona. That's a lot of stuff pointing to solo ganks that we've yet to see.
It's true, it's true. I think they want to get as much farm online first, and then like get some tools to end up killing this Bellona. Because like right now, you know, before Nemesis has like her first item and she doesn't have her ultimate yet, you more likely aren't going to kill this Bellona. He's going to be saving his ultimate for a getaway tool 9 times out of 10, but we do see Lancelot hovering around this Mulan. Might be a gank plan. Now that you can strip away some neutrals.
SDF does go in, is holding on to that Eagles rally. The bludgeon's out. Just playing it safe though. Again, keywords here, no overcommits from Team Skpeso. They want to win the long con here. They don't want to give up any short victories to Team Captain Twig. That's how a team like that, with comms like that from a world champion, can really get ahead of you, is making every little bit of extra gold they get count.
Very true. Well, right now, you know, we're 5 minutes in. We do see a small gold lead from the Team Skpeso, but we see Nemesis engaging on to the Lancelot.
Sunprod does get the dash out. Does look interested in this 1v1, knowing SDF is around the corner, but Siho steps up. Here's the horse, there's the root. It's decent, but the shield helps a lot, but now it's down for Joust, and the Rainfire at an Eagles rally, too, to make it a first blood for Team Skpeso.
You have your solo laner coming out of base with a full Frostbound there. Amazing chase down potential, and they're going to be on time for their wave. Their blue buff, he's not missing too much farm for that rotation. You love to see it, but you hate to be on the other end of it. Elder ends up being the bad end of that trade. He gets Equinox now, you know, going back to base in the grayscale. And you do see Pearl buff getting secured by your Tiamat. Love to see it.
it's big to secure it, especially after you've already dealt with having it taken once. And on Tiamat, you're already going to be a little bit out of the sword, so you need to have it all time. 1v2 in the solo lane. The Neath ultimate evens the odds, brings him down. The pull-in from Twig. It's looking pretty. It's looking great. Sunprod goes down to Captain Twig. SDF will look for a return. Does have the slow, but Twig is able to get away.
And that's what that rotation did early. It ends up pulling his ultimate. If he has the ultimate still, he may look to overcommit in the tower. Maybe Elder can find a flank here. But the Neath ult, prime. Just placed perfectly, perfect timing. And now you just have SDF surrounded.
That's a lot of blue, and that's only one singular red jersey. SDF sees it, tries to get away, but there's the lockdown. Just needs the kill. The Bludgeon did do a lot, but a lot doesn't matter in this scenario. C-Host with the credit onto SDF.
I wonder if they weren't available to, call that rotation to solo lane, happening that way. Because I feel like if you hear like, hey, there's 3 people going, into the side of the jungle, maybe you don't step up. You can't be up there. We see a Bull Demon contest go, which is good.
The Bull Demon King presence and awareness in the fights are one of my favorite things of this current patch of Smite. Because one thing it's doing that's interesting that I feel like not a lot of people are talking about is it's slowing down the amount of wards we're seeing on that right-hand side. Because you're giving away a lot of free gold. So you don't want to just drop a ward for the sake of dropping it. You need to respond to actually needing it. And my goodness, that damage onto Mando was absurd.
Yeah, Neath is still pretty strong.
I like the pause from Dr. Bojo. It's to look and be like, C-Host, you did that, and SDF getting blocked against the wall from Captain Twig.
Ooh,
does get pulled in. SDF in a bit of danger. The ultimate will hit a bit, and Neath ult as well, but Eagle's rally was online. Neath ult not going to kill quite yet. SDF gets away.
That's going to come from Captain Twig's, I guess, discomfort in the solo lane role. If he ends up hitting that Mulan ultimate, SDF's dead. Like, if he ends up hitting, like, the first swing through, that damage from the Neath ult is enough to kill him in his own tower. And we're talking about an insane gold lead and XP lead being built up by this Mulan. Already a level ahead. Already having pressure building Blackthorn, not opting for a Frostbound. So we're going to see this Sigil build that's, its weakest point is the early game. Kind of get mitigated a little bit by the amount of pressure we have in the solo side of the map.
I know we're talking, actually, hang on with that, because Lancelot is looking at the Tiamat at purple, and does get the steal. That hurts for sure. The Joust to commit under the tier 2 tower. Sunprod, a bit out of character, it may be overstepping, does get the pushback, goes underneath again, able to find the kill, but trades out the Ting Tug and that tier 2 tower. A low-cost green buff as well, so pretty worth with all the farm you get on top of it, but that felt not like a Sunprod play.
Oh, I feel like maybe he just got bored. He said, "You know what, guys? I want to kill this Tiamat." He said, "I'm cutting the purple." Yeah, like I've been on my horsey the whole game. I wanna get in this tower. Let me just get some action going. So, but I mean, again, like whether it's like XP wise worth, gold worth, nah, that's mentally worth. That's mentally shatteringly worth. But we see some defense coming up from the Tiamat as well. So maybe we don't see much pressure later coming onto the Tiamat. We're gonna see, I'm assuming, a breastplate angle after the book is off as well. And we see a solo side gank coming in as well.
Somebody did their homework on SDF, and they know we got to keep that Bologna down. The Eagles rally, but the Neath ult is already on target. Doesn't get the kill, though. This could be a chance, as SDF, still alive, finally goes down. Look how much time was wasted in Sunprod and Skpeso are both here. Damage is real good onto Dr. Bojo. Fafnir goes Dragon Boy, but doesn't want a full dive quite yet. Waiting for cooldowns to come up, they'll just adjust to grab that totem. Unless Twig makes himself a better offer for Skpeso. But they'll look lightly. I'm surprised they didn't dive deeper. Twig is taking a lot, though. The Joust now committed. It's delayed, but Twig does pay for stepping up. It was confusing indeed, confusing for everybody. When Twig goes down, Dr. Bojo close to going down, but does get away.
That was a phenomenal play by both teams. You're punishing this Bologna. You want to keep your solo lane ahead. You want to get that Sigil build online very, very quickly. But also a good response from Team Skpeso. And just something that a lot of people I don't think would normally catch is that Maui 2 was dropped. That's why the Captain Twig stepped up, like even happened there. But then you see Sun Prodigy saying, wait, I have a cripple. And he ults just to cripple out the Maui 2 and make sure he stays overextended enough, just long enough to make sure that they're confirming that kill. Again, beautiful micro plays happening from both sides of the map there. And now we're just going to see who ends up getting the better deal of this. You have a 2k gold lead, well, 1.5k gold lead, really. Building up for Team Skpeso. We're seeing some more objective hovering happening now. And we see a purple buff invade happening yet again.
I also love how much attention's been brought there. But finally, a response from Elder, which I love even more. Seeing the Nemesis here for a fight, and Ethel is going to combine some great damage on Sunprod. The chase from Elder is good so far, but look at the rain fire and what it's doing to the Maui. Doctor barely able to get away, but Skpeso almost support on support violence. Does have to go back because Sunprod just got picked off by Elder, who was able to re-engage the fight, utilize that blink, and find the kill on the Lancelot.
A lot of ultimates used by Captain Twig's team, but you end up getting the life of the enemy jungler for it, so I'm calling worth every day of the week. We see this Nemesis also opting into crit as their second item, maybe a rage, so we'll see how that angle goes.
The crit angle from the Nem does go a bit brazy. Seahos running down the Agni in mid as we're watching SDF get run out in solo. Agni was able to get away, but again, I watched the health bar Hydra of the Bando go from full to 30% within less than a second. That is just no fun to play against.
Yeah, no, for real. So, and we also see, again, like I think they're putting a lot of pressure onto some Prodigy here because that's opened up Nemesis to invade the entire jungle. The red buff, the speed buff, the back kick speed camps all go the way of Nemesis, and now we see a mid lane fight around this beacon maybe coming out, but maybe not as much as we think. Fafnir's leaping in.
Fast game so far. Could be our first fast fight at the Stigi B. Seahos finds great damage on Mando and is able to get the kill. Thanks Bluestone for having Seahos back. Mando goes down, makes it 6-3 now for Team Captain Twig, and they'll take that Stigi B as well. That gold lead that's been so minuscule we've been talking about, it's starting to really get close for Team Captain Twig. Those small victories that we were talking about that can really add up are getting bigger and bigger. The biggest one so far, though, for Skpeso, just grabbed the tier 1 tower in the dual lane.
I do end up loving what both teams are doing here. We're seeing some Boldyman play coming out here. Seahos getting poked a little bit, but both teams are basically even. You have 3 kills advantage on Captain Twig's team, but gold-wise, the map stays pretty even. You're even in towers. One team has a little bit more tower damage on their side, however. But you also have like about similar itemization coming out from both teams as well in terms of build progression. So I do want to see what the next play is going to be for either team here, because the next team that makes a really big play, they're going to blow the game wide open.
Medusa posturing, looking for purple invade. Tingtub unaware, now aware. We'll have to fight off that Medusa and try to get away. They have a breastplate online, but it's not doing too much, maybe just enough to help the survivability. The purple buff is secured though, so a victory nonetheless for the Tiamat to keep it alive.
Yeah, W for Tiamat. Maybe she wants to try and double buff up here, because if she ends up eating this green buff, she ends up getting 2 belts, and we love to see it.
In the meantime, Sunprod was able to help SDF pick up a big-time kill on Captain Twig. I say big time because SDF has been fighting demons over there in solo, so to get a kill up over Captain Twig does feel good for SDF. Maybe get more of that true SDF Bologna we're familiar with online. It's been tough so far to see it, and Skpeso does catch out Elder. I mean, there's not kill potential here, but stalling the back, running Elder all the way back, it's annoying in all the right ways.
Exactly. I think no team really is in a great position right now to just pull Gold Fury. If they want to try and back right now and reset forward, that's probably going to be the angle. But I think both teams are just trying to play kind of passive, see where the next fight really happens, see if they can win that next fight, and then maybe pull the objective after that fight happens. I don't know if any team really wants to group up and just rip an objective with all 5 members on the map still up. I think either side, it's basically just a coin flip at that point. And with these fights going the way they've been going, you really don't want to just, overextend your lead. You don't want to take, a bushel of apples and be like, oh, we have plenty of apples. We also just keep trying to pick more and then just, fall down to the wayside there. And we see more solo laners boxing each other.
They're just doing the solo lane things, and until we see more jungles over here, I'm not gonna fully buy into the bait of there being a kill, because the jungles did end up putting a lot of attention there. And it's been interesting because the pressure has been pretty evenly spread in a way, because with all the purple buff stolen, with the tier 1 tower advantage for Skpeso and Duo, they've handled the Tiamat well. But Team Captain Twig played it smart. They didn't let SDF Bologna be SDF Bologna. so that's kept that monster in check. And it's weird because you rarely see each side lane be handled. Sunfrog getting handled now with the Neath ult on target, but the Joust was online. Does get him away underneath that tier 1. We'll see how Team Captain Twig's feeling. There's a lot of Skpeso here, so if you take any fight, you're taking the fight with the herd.
Yeah, no, I definitely love to see what they're doing here. You see that combo coming out onto the Sun Prodigy, that Nemesis Neath ult. Late game, that's going to be deadly. That's going to just instantly kill somebody. And whether it's a frontliner or a backliner, it's going to be bad news for whoever does get hit by it. So I do love that they're already trying to like get used to comboing in that way, and the solo lanes go right back to hitting each other. They said, hey, like our team showed up. They said, hey guys, like how you guys doing? They said, hey, we're still tanking over here. All right, bet, and let them just keep hitting each other. We see Pyromancer though getting contested.
Rainfire is on it, but Team Captain Twig is able to secure it away. Seahose just does a bit more damage than that Rainfire at the right time. Skpeso's in no man's land now, no dragon's land, with Elder getting the kill onto Fafnir. You can step up for more if you want it, and Team Captain Twig have been pretty patient so far. Skpeso are aware of that, and they do back up. If they lose Pyro, lose their support, and lose some footing on the map as well, this could open up some opportunities on the left-hand side.
I'd love to see how we're going to see this response. I'm really interested to see if they're just going to send the Bologna split push and maybe teleport over. Maybe they just want to try and have to get a little bit more items. Because right now, Team Captain Twig just wins team fights. Their team comp is just a lot more poised to win team fights right now. But we're going to be seeing a Gold Fury pool here. Maybe a contest happen.
Elder playing defense, but dropped down below. Half has to back out of the fight. Sunfrog gets some CC and some big damage, has to use the Joust to get away. So Skpeso concede the Gold Fury, but Team Captain Twig don't take that as an opportunity to get it. They're more interested in that Stigi B. Maybe thought if they went to Gold Fury and committed, Skpeso would just come back and look for a bigger fight. But that Stigi B will go to Team Captain Twig. Now 7-4, and that gold lead is still close. It's barely a difference, 200 favoring Skpeso. The kills and the experience has been more the favorite for the blue side.
I'd love to see them trying to sneak this Gold Fury. Right now it's half. They're kind of down. People aren't here. I think they just want to coin flip it. They don't really want to take the fight. But they're going to back off and just play it safe. Which also is a fine call.
Don't want to be overly risky with it, because if you give that Gold Fury away, now all of a sudden Team Captain Twig have a comfortable gold lead over you with the experienced lead. And the risk was not worth any reward for Skpeso, and they just let it go. I do wonder how long we're going to fight over this left-hand side, because as we've seen, Bologna's yet to fully go back to solo. Captain Twig on the Mulan has gone back, but everybody's still kind of hanging around that mid lane. You see where the Tiamat is. Nobody wants to fully let go of any of the action so far.
Right now, your biggest lead on Team Skpeso is in your jungle. You have about a level and a half lead on the Lancelot versus the Nemesis. And all of these fights are starting with this Lancelot getting engaged on having that ult in defensively. He'd having an ult away from these fights and just trying to reset. So as long as Team Captain Twig can just keep putting pressure on this Lancelot, who's getting pinged right now, by the way. As long as they can just keep putting pressure on this Lancelot and saying, hey, like, this person has a lead. He might spell trouble for a backline. Just keep him down. Just keep this guy in check. I think these team fights are going to keep going in the same direction they have been going in. But right now, we still see the gold's even. Gold is even, and Team Captain Twig is, you know, they have more team fight pressure. I think right now they have a better team fighting comp right now. Team Skpeso is still waiting to try and scale up their picks, but you know, with these fights going as I would not poorly, but definitely unfavorable. You're pretty impressed that you're even still, you know, able to hang evenly in terms of gold and map pressure.
A lot of that makes a lot of sense, and the biggest stuff for me that I've been impressed by is the team fights feel like Team Captain Twig dictates the pace from the start, because the Neath damage is too much, as we see here with the Neath ultimate committing on to Mando. And again, the damage too much. Now the next phase of the fight, we've seen this before, Nemesis ultimate onto that Lancelot will force the Joust out. This is a tale we've already seen happen in these fights, and Team Captain Twig know how to make it work. They have to find a new opening. Sunfrog will look to step back in just for some poke, but already Skpeso backed up far.
surgical target selection coming out from Team Captain Twig. I'm gonna call him Team Dr. Twig because there's no way that the accuracy that's like required for like an operating room is not being shown from this guy. I wonder if that's gonna just be like the SPL level shot calling coming in, saying, hey guys, like pick this guy. He's up too far. Let's just kill this guy. All right, now this guy. All right, now this guy. They're picking their targets very, very well, and they have a really good comp to do that. They have an amazing comp to say, hey, like we want this one person dead, move on to the next, and we keep seeing that happen every single fight. Team Captain Twig is not stepping up too far. They're playing their corners really well. They have a lot of ward vision in the places where they need it. And then you have these characters that just end up supporting this playstyle. You have this Mulan who can just dive in and try and do a lot of damage. We have a Neathol coming in.
Oh boy.
And the Medusa ult
Twig
to
just getting
immune.
to pull that Medusa out for free has to feel so great for Captain Twig, because the team of Captain Twig in these team fights is just making such short work of them that you need ultimates like that piercing gaze online. You need it the whole time. You can't function without it. Jouts down early through Sunprod, same story, Hydra.
So right now, if I'm thinking like, I'm Team Skpeso, the team fights are going like not the way you really want them to go, but you're still even in gold. Nothing's really been taken to blow the game open against you right now. What angle do you think they're going to be taking here?
For me, it'd have to be an angle of we're close to 20. We got Medusa 20. We're getting Sunprod there soon. We'll have starter items upgraded soon. It's not a sprint at the moment. It's more of a calmly get to the end of your builds and then look to make your way back in, because you've gotten the tier 1 tower in solo and duo. So things aren't looking bleak. You're just behind.
It's true. I mean, I'd say they're probably just behind in pressure. In terms of macro, they're still up in gold, which is really impressive to see.
It's so impressive.
Yeah, like them losing these beacons, losing this gold fury pressure, and they're still just up in gold. You're down in XP in a couple places, but otherwise, your team's still scaling pretty well.
Some solo laner stat padding of damage. Nothing we haven't seen before.
Exactly.
But Stigi B is up and Team Captain Twig is here first. Skpeso. They could look to collapse. It is a 4-on-4 right now with both solos still busy on that side lane. And here it is, a lot of damage on the Sunprod, but no Joust baited out quite this time. SDF and Twig are taking it to the end. They're both at red health. Who will get the better over in solo? It's going to be close. And will they rotate after with TP? Twig low. The minions helping out, but Twig gets the better of it. And SDF goes down. It'll be a back and a potential teleport coming out here for Captain Twig to maybe turn the tides of the Stygian Beacon fight. Skpeso know that. They're trying to rush it through.
And Twig's already here. He's already blinked in. He's engaging onto the backline. All-in fights being committed here. Drunk's going to have to beats and ages to get out of here. We're going to see Seahost casting from the backline pretty safely. Maui dropping it too, saying, hey, in case we have a go button, we can just keep chasing it out. Captain Twig getting a backliner killed immediately. Drunk is not dying here. You see Lance on the horse and quickly knocked off of it. The saddle was not tight enough. Captain Twig still going in the T2 tower, still diving the backline, forcing them back in the base. 3 dead, none lost. You're getting a beacon for that. You're looking at Gold Fury.
That looks great for Team Captain Twig, and that gold lead that we kept saying was so close to the more. With the Gold Fury on top of it, it's going to be one of the biggest gold swings we've seen so far in this game. And the kill lead, I mean, you see it, it's 11-4, 1,500 right now, experience just under 7,000, but there is no rush to the Gold Fury, so I guess we're off the mark on that one. No real rush to get it. I mean, Pyromancer's up soon, so maybe one of those classic Pyro, force to fight, walk to gold, make him chase this type of plays from Team Captain Twig.
I do like the call to just like not immediately rush to Gold Fury. They definitely could have done it. It would have been probably a coin flip. They would have been coin flipping it, and there's no need to really do that when you just got a pretty decent team fight lead. But Team Captain Twig's team doesn't really burn objectives that well. They have a team ADC that's building defense and tablet. They're going this library build with 3 books. Completely fine build, by the way. Once it scales to late game, they're going to be doing insane damage. It'll be great. But your only objective shred is Nemesis. So you're looking for a smaller objective. Probably Pyromancer dies a lot easier. You can just commit 2 or 3 bodies onto it. And you end up getting Bomb Secure, which you're going to want to pull Fire Giant making. They have 2 bombs already. Once they get a 3rd one, that's going to be a 6k damage secure on their next Fire Giant pull. And the next Pyromancer is going to be up before EFG. That's just what they're playing for. We see a fight happening in mid lane. Lance ult force.
Sunprod got poked so quickly. I feel like we've said that a million times, Hydra. It's when the fights start, the poke happens so fast that you can't even react to it if you're Skpeso, and it just costs them so much each time that they then can't fight. Look, nobody's at Gold Fury. They're all hanging out by tier 2 in mid. By the time Skpeso gets here, it will go down to Team Captain Twig. Remember that 200 gold lead was so close forever? It's now 5,000 for Team Captain Twig in the literal blink of an eye. Look at that chart. That thing used Neath backflip.
No, literally. yeah, peak Neath backflip there. Again, I mean, we're seeing a lot of pressure come out of these team fights. Team Skpeso is not allowed to take a fight on their terms. This Nemesis and Neath ult is always finding a good target, a good priority target for them all the time. Forcing it, whether it kills somebody or not, you're forcing somebody to not be in a fight. You're forcing it to be a 4v5 scenario, and that's just opening up the map to these really advantageous scenarios. You know, that Gold Fury, if the Lancelot isn't poked out and he doesn't have an ultimate, they probably just don't even pull that there. You know, maybe they just don't even, you know, do anything there. If I'm Team Skpeso, I'm probably looking to maybe all in this next fight around Fire Giant, because if you end up winning maybe a 2-3 trade, getting Fire, the game's a lot more even for you. But you definitely just can't let this next objective go.
They have a pick on Twig, but do they know that they've got it? And how long will Twig survive? There's the commit of the Rain Fire, the ultimate's used. That buys enough time. And now Team Captain Twig is here to back up their namesake. And they're ready to dive in as well. Damage onto SDF, but Skpeso is backed up pretty deep into their jungle. So they'll force Team Captain Twig to chase into that jungle if they want to make this fight happen. A good call for retreat, and I think the appropriate amount was dumped onto Mulan.
I think a lot of the pressure that we're going to be seeing is going to be jammed up mid lane right now. We see a lot of relics and ults about to be forced here. Captain Twig's team down for a couple ultimates. They still have most of their relics up, so it's not a disadvantageous push for them here. Maybe we're going to see an engagement come here in a few seconds.
Dr. Bojo certainly wants to, stepping in, but Twig says, I got it, blinks through, gets aggressive. There goes that tier 2 tower. And the landfall was close, but brings in nobody. Sunprod did take a lot of poke. There's the Medusa ultimate, which did numbers to C-Host. Now a re-engage coming out from Sunprod, diving into the back line with barely any health to do it. But it does work out a bit. They get damage onto Elder. Damage is still on C-Host, but they've gotten so low, Team Skpeso can't commit to the fight, despite the decent defense, keeping Team Captain Twig away from their Phoenix.
I like the answer that they just gave back there. They said, hey, like, we're down, but we still have some fight left in us. You're burning a lot of relics for the enemy team, so they can't just comfortably pull this fire anymore. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to be able to step up into a position and try to contest it. Maybe you secure your blue, you do.
Okay. I respect that.
like that's a win. That's a win. You know, we take it. We take it. So, but I mean,
like the hop
again,
Twig.
Yeah, he's like unlucky, unfortunate. I'm gonna bunny hop this way now. So, but I think that's gonna slow the game down a lot. You know, if you end up losing that fight, you end up losing your mid bird. They're poised to just end up pulling Fire Giant. So, but now we're gonna see another beacon fight. I don't think I want to see. I don't think I want to see Team Skpeso even contest this beacon. It's not gonna do a lot for them. Like they lose a T1 tower in duo, and that's basically it. So.
Yeah, maybe peek around, see if there's one person on it the way Sunprod is. But I agree, hopefully there isn't a commit from Skpeso. SDF could actually be in some trouble, and Sunprod is looking a bit deep for what we were just asking for. It does go the way of Team Captain Twig without a death from Skpeso, which leaves them alive to contest the Pyro and or the Fire. We might be in Fire Giant Dance territory, but with the team comms that we know are pretty good from Skpeso, and obviously the veteran shot calling from Team Captain Twig, Fire Giant Dances are hopefully something we will not see.
It's true. I think all they need to blow the game back in their favor, put some wind back in their sails, is one good team fight. And they have a team comp that's very, very capable of doing that. The Agni is officially now scaled to level 20. He has alt timeline on, so he's not going to be this instantly, like, blown up target. So at this point, you're just hoping that maybe you can get a little bit of value out of your Lancelot's engage and not force him to use his horse defensively in this next fight. If that is allowed to happen, I think the fight can swing back into their favor.
Nemesis does have Deathbringer for the next fight as well. You've been talking a lot about what the Nemesis is bringing to these fights, and Adding Deathbringer will be magnificent as well for Team Captain Twig, but you need more than magnificent to truly break down Skpeso because their retreat calls have been on it. And so far, nobody's gone in to force a retreat. The most damage we've seen has been in the way of Sun Prod. Twig's taken a little poke from Rain Fire, but nothing more than that. It's still who's going to blink first. Oh, STF might have made him blink first. The big Eagles rally into the backline. Twig will ult right back out though, and it's actually turning on to Skpeso. C-Host is going to essentially solo out Sunprod. SK will turn it right back, bring down Elder. Twig in deep, so is SDF. Twig makes it work, but C-Host shuts down SDF. It's a double for double so far for the Neath and the Fafnir. C-Host with the backflip away, the Dragon for the chase. Is this a triple kill for the Fafnir? It just might be, it is! Triple kill for Skpeso, but damage done, 4 dead for Skpeso, 3 were returned.
You are loving the fact that you even got 3 kills there in that fight. You know, the enemy team was so ahead. Your Agni did not lose his timeline. The timeline did not get proc. So you're still pretty comfortable to just step up with your Agni in this next fight. You burned a lot of ultimates. You burned a lot of relics on the enemy team. So now, when you guys end up grouping for this EFG fight, you have a really good chance of just swinging the fight and winning it. All they need is one good EFG fight. They take EFG, they sweep the map. That's all they need to do to get back in this game. And that fight was probably their key back through the door. So I'm loving what they just did there.
Demonic Ring.
Oh yeah, first of all, let's just talk about that. Yeah, Fafnir with his 1 and his Demonic Ring and his Void Damaru is shredding 60% prots. This character is okay, by the way, completely balanced. No nerfs needed at all. And in that fight, it's gonna show, you know, like he's ending up making these tankier targets infinitely easier for his team to kill. The Mulan ends up dying, and she has essentially a mitigation build with Midgardian Mail. Really hard target to kill unless you're going to be putting some Dragon Form pressure on her from Fafnir. But, you know, and you end up being able to solo these backlines with this ring. You know, you're really still tanky. So overall, just a great fight from Skpeso there.
As good as you could have asked for, but what about the fight for the Pyro? Team Captain Twig do pull it first. Down to half, and Skpeso are close. Team Captain Twig will get the Pyro, and Twig is still able to tank so much of that damage from that Agni. Mando's damage has all been on Mulan, and it's bothered Mulan none up to this point. The biggest damage seems to be the Fafnir for Skpeso in these fights, because nobody else can really lock anyone down.
It's very true. The Bellona's doing some good, like, zoning. She's able to threaten some backliners, but now we're seeing a Fire Giant get pulled here. This might decide the game.
33 minutes, 15-7. Is this that tipping point? There's a pull on Skpeso. The Fafnir is already at half health, which will matter a lot because that Fafnir was the turning point of the previous fight. SDF pulled in, has to dash away. Elder's lurking, looking for that flank that we talked about. Captain Twig, preferring the front door, steps up and forces Team Skpeso back. It's a full-scale retreat, but Twig blinks in to not let them get away, and it's working. They're really stalling out, but the damage is great, and Elder dashed in, almost found Drunk Diplomat. The jump away brings back with the landfall Skpeso to their death, and C-Host will get the credit for the final hit. That's a big pickup for Team Captain Twig. Damage done, support dropped, and they're pretty healthy.
You are now worried if your team Skpeso. You're like, hey, we've lost our support. Their relics should be coming back up sooner than what we'd like. But maybe we can end up getting a good chase here. Maybe that's going to be the angle. Maybe they want to look to fight around Beacon. They can finally get a Beacon this game. And then maybe just position around the Fire Giant again.
Maybe again, maybe a little something for the boys back home from this 50B for Skpeso. First one there. Drunk Bojo drops down Drunk Diplomat, sets up Captain Twig to seal the deal and drop the Medusa. The Eagles rally, good in the chase. They're trading back and forth, but so far it's already 2 dead for Team Skpeso. Make that 3, and with their namesake just respawning, that's going to be just Mando and the Fafnir. Mando's still being chased out. Team Captain Twig have opened up a really good spot of opportunity. The biggest problem, though, you talked about it, Elder is the objective shred. Elder's the one dead.
I mean, you're not guaranteed to just burn fire here. There's some steal potential. If I'm Team Skpeso, I'm definitely recognizing that. I'm saying, hey, they have a Tiamat that's building defense and tablet, and they have a Neat to try and break the objective. And Maui is the one tanking it right now, and he's also kind of low. If you want to just like step up in dragon form here, I'm not hating that call. But I also just love the call for them to say, hey, we really don't burn this. Let's just go home. Let's go home, get some wards. Our relics are coming back up. Neathel just got sent out, and it half health on the enemy mid laner. So maybe we just wait. You know, like we want to wait till we wipe them. So I think that's really going to be the biggest weakness of this Captain Twig comp, is that they can't just pull Fire Giant. If even one member is dead, and if that member is Elder, they can't just burn Fire Giant. But if Elder is, you know, one of the people alive after, you know, at the end of that fight, they just get EFG. They can run down the map and just do towers and do whatever they want. So I like the fact that they're still like prioritizing, like, putting some damage onto their jungler, making sure they just, you know, don't have their objective burned, and making sure that they're just comfortable. Like at this point, you're not gonna get ahead, but you can still be comfortable. You can still be comfortably. Exactly. You can be comfortable. You can be smart. You can be at a disadvantage and not feel bad about it. With this team comp, so they do have a bomb. Both teams end up having a bomb, so there's still some good steal potential both ways. The next fight is probably going to dictate who gets this Fire Giant.
Pyromancer will spawn. You see the pings coming out from Team Captain Twig. They've looked great at all of the Pyromancer fights. Even with the one where Skpeso got a triple kill, they still looked good there. Skpeso won't get there in time for a fight, but they'll be lurking around this Fire Giant. That's 2 bombs in pocket for Team Captain Twig as well. 19 kills to the 8 of Skpeso, and the gold lead's now over 10,000, which is everybody's favorite mark for 3K pots. Starts to be a pretty significant swing for that. Yeah, it's in the pocket of the Tia, and the defense pot for Captain Twig, just as frightening.
Honestly, like, Captain Twig, for most of this game, has been untouchable in terms of, like, his health bar. Putting a 3K pot on that makes me worried. I'm like, wow, he's going to be really hard to kill right now. A lot of mitigation coming out from Prophetic, Sigil, and 3K pot. He's going to just be infinitely tanky to, like, this Agni poke. You're going to need probably Fafnir dive on top of him to end up killing him at some point. So now you're looking at Team Skpeso and you're saying, who do we dive here? Who's our target? Because we really have not been able to kill Maui. We really can't kill Captain Twig very fast. And we see a fight brewing.
I like that C-Host is cosplaying as the drone right now.
He said, hey guys, just let me know. Just let me know, guys. I got enough CDR.
Back into it right again. That time it's used. A lot of damage on the Drunk Diplomat. Does back them up. Same thing for Skpeso. We saw this in the last fight. They backed them up, waited till they walked closer, and then Twig blinked in to get aggressive. We'll see if that's the play call once more, as Fire Giant is picked up by Team Captain Twig, and Skpeso are just trying to respond, but it's going really quick. It's down to half already. Pull in onto the Dragon. Prod trying to find a way in. Fire Giant down to a quarter, but they let it go, looking for the fight, as Skpeso have pushed up. But they don't get caught, so they stop the fire without having to commit to the fight. That's one done already. Prod, we've seen this before, walks away from the fight to grab the tier 1 in mid, but maybe that's a bad call, as Skpeso could be caught out as he's coming out of the dragon form. The jump away, can he survive? Maybe, because they turned it around and they bring down the Maui already, but Twig able to find a kill on a Drunk Diplomat. So 1-for-1 so far, but look at those red health bars. Look how low they've gotten. SDF though, still making it work with the double kill. Elder finding a way in.
Here.
There's 1, crits online, there's 2. 4, Elder now looking for Skpeso, turns back, will accept the Mando. The stun will help out for sure. That all timeline will only by a moment. Triple kill for Elder.
Yeah, I hate to see it. It's basically all you can say in that fight. The fight ends up looking pretty good. You end up forcing them off the Fire Giant at first. You end up making them respond to going deeper into your jungle. You get a good engage off onto the Neath. Neath ends up dying, which is great. It just took everyone else's lives to make it happen. So now we're going to end up seeing a mid-bird stage here. Skpeso going to try and do his best to stall here. He recognizes the damage is Team Tub. He's going to end up transforming Dragon form here. Maybe he ends up getting enough damage on. But the birds...
Twig's already down to half. But Skpeso is not looking amazing. It's just trying to stall. As you said, 5 seconds for Drunk Diplomat, but it's not going to be able to last the whole way through. Well, a pretty decent job, though, all things considered. That does stop the game from being ended if that was ever a risk for Team Captain Twig to call out. They didn't get fire in that fight. They did focus on the kills, but the mid bird will be a plentiful prize.
Yeah, I mean, the team comp is going the distance here. Captain Twig's team doesn't have like a ton of objective shred if they don't have Elder up, alive. Uh, so they need to be really careful about when they pull these objectives and where they want to pull them. So they end up seeing a nice Oni Fury pull. It's going to end up pressuring a lot of the map state and might open them up to end up just trying to pull this EFG. And by the way, a third Pyro Bomb is spawning, and if Team Captain Twig get that, they're gonna have a pretty decent job securing the EFG. Almost a guaranteed EFG for them to end up getting this Pyromancer.
47,000 damage for that Neath, by the way.
Yeah, she hurts. The character does nice damage right now.
And with the 3K pots online, you had a proximity ward. There's the third bomb. You had the Stigi B that brought the tier 2 low. With the Oni wave, that should be that tier 2 tower. It's not looking great for Skpeso, but they might have a Hail Mary at this EFG. And we're past 40 minutes, so we're in Hail Mary territory.
Yeah, once we're like, if EFG ends up falling into Captain, we might burn very quickly. We might see steal here.
That is a very quick bird indeed. Down to a quarter. Can SDF get there in time? Going to be a close call. Team Captain Twig get the EFG, and they want the fight too. Twig going in aggressive, sets up well. The Nemesis ult's doing numbers to Skpeso, but they might be able to bring down Twig as well, but they can't find Twig. And a blink in from Elder, and the damage is so good from the Nemesis. One already gone.
One.
Two may follow. TikTok gets the 2. There's the 3. Everyone's getting a kill. Last one standing is Sunprod, and it will not be long for the Lancelot. Triple kill for Elder, and that's going to be the game for Team Captain Twig.
Just clean execution. Like, they had an idea of how they wanted to play their comp, and they played it perfectly. They did not let Team Skpeso play their game at all. This was a systematically, surgically predicted, pace of the game. It was dictated from basically minute 1. And Skpeso, they didn't look bad. They were fighting back basically the entire game, even with like a 10k deficit. They were still fighting these fights pretty evenly. One or two more like changes to that, and the game might go their way. You can't be mad about it.
I changed my background. I know they lost, but it felt appropriate.
The Fafnir repping goes crazy.
The demonic grip was just insane. I mean, there's no I still can't believe that is a thing. It's
yeah.
I get
the Fafnir looks great.
I have a Frank's retirement home cast for their opening week towards the beginning of next week. I really hope I get to see some actual Fafnir ADCs and jungles. But let's talk about the Fafnir in this game. Let's talk the post-game stats. An interesting one, to say the least, because I feel like we didn't see... The numbers look worse than the game we saw, I guess is my main takeaway.
Yeah. I think you're going to be seeing like an 0.5 drunk diplomat. You're going to be seeing an 0.4 Mando, and you're going to be like, oh wow, backline diff, I guess. But realistically speaking, I don't even think that's really the case. I think 1 or 2 more fights end up going slightly different, and we're seeing a much different stat screen. Sunprod ending 3-8 on the Lancelot, but I think he still played it pretty well. SDF falling 3-7-3 on his iconic Bologna pick, and you see him getting out damaged, out mitigated, 138k mitigated by the way on Captain Twig. Just what? Okay, just insane numbers across the board. But I think going into game 2, what adjustments are you maybe thinking of making?
It's tough for me because do you really feel like the Mulan was the difference maker? Would you have rather had that Sun Wukong? That's an option on the table. I mean, you're not going to ban the Tiamat ADC, but you could look to ban out the Neath mid. But what does that open up for C-Host? Because you already saw a Tiamat ADC. In a weird way, I'd almost rather deal with that. And, again, speaking of bans, I just don't see them using. I wouldn't anticipate a Nemesis ban. That just doesn't seem completely in character. So maybe it's a change up instead, and less of a worry about what the other team played and more of fixing what you've got. The Bologna, in all worlds, should have worked for SDF.
Yeah, I think he got kind of he got pressured out, and they had a really good comp with dealing with just that pick. If he got Nemesis and Neath ulted, he had to ult away. He couldn't stay in the fight and just keep running it down. So I really want to commend Captain Twig's team for even drafting a team that could handle a pick like that. Same thing with Skpeso. The Fafnir looked great, but once it's in, and then you have a Nemesis that shredded your prods. You have a Neath to lock you down. You have Ting Tub on the team to slow you and make sure you just really can't get away. And let's not forget about the Maui ult that pulled him from T2 back to the blue buff. So you have a lot of lockdown happening on these frontliners. They're not just allowed to play the game that they want to play. Maybe you look to take away some of those options. Maybe a Neath ban. Maybe you're looking for a Neath ban, just because that pick facilitated. Yeah, that pick facilitated a lot of what we saw. Neath sitting back in Fire Giant Pit while you're like on your back XPs, and then you just take 800, 900 damage, and you can't fight anymore. Unfortunate, unlucky. You should have Aegis, I guess. I mean, like unlucky. So,
yeah, but, I'm with a Neath ban, and honestly, I did like the Medusa. I was with you on it. It didn't feel great in that scenario, just the way it was playing out. I do feel like if you had a tank shredder to focus on the Mulan, that could have solved a lot of the issues. We did see the Agni having to be the one to commit to dropping a million rain fires on the head of Mulan and not really be able to use it on the Neath or the Tiamat. So that could be a good change as well.
Very true, very true. Overall, listen, I'm just hyped that I saw Tiamat ADC win a game. That was nice. That was
Shout out to
enjoyable.
Zarksith. I'm not sure if you've gotten to play with her or seen her play, but that's
Zar's awesome.
When I think Tiamat ADC, I do think of Zar.
Yep. No, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and especially after getting every purple buff stolen, still performing that well. Kudos. Kudos to you, Ting Tub.
Absolutely. Well, we should be in the next one soon, but we do have some time to just chill out. That was a weird one though. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's easy to get frustrated because it just kind of felt like, oh, Mulan's mitigating,
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, you're sitting there like, oh man, like 138k mitigated. I guess she's tanky. Wow, like, unfortunate for me. I mean, but like, if you're a backliner of that game, you're like, oh, like, we were miserable. We can't step up because if Mulan blinks me, then Neath ult follows right after. Like, what do I do into that? So, but I mean, maybe you want to look at some options because like Lancelot ended up going blink and beads. He didn't have Aegis, so he was just like kind of a premier target to focus out and try and force him back to base. Maybe you look towards a pick that can afford to go beads Aegis and still have a good impact. Maybe that's your change. Maybe that's an angle so Sunpride's a little bit more comfortable. Maybe you put him something that can't instantly get poked out like that. Maybe you want to put him on. I know it was banned, but Camazot's. Maybe put him on something that can run a lobby itself, maybe like a Thanatos or something, which also may have been banned. So, but maybe like a switch in the jungle pressure, just to make sure that your jungler's getting a chance to actually play the game. Because that game, he did not get to play the game he wanted to play.
Yeah. I feel like it was the one thing that was very, I guess stark is the word, the gold swing that we saw. It was so consistently close, and that's always been that's a strength when I think of Skpeso games and when I think of prod games. That's a strength of them, is they lose gracefully and then they're never out, and then late game comes around and they just outfight you. But it didn't happen against Team Captain Twig, and maybe it was the shot calling because it's pretty safe to assume Twig would be the main shot caller. Just would make a lot of sense. And when you actually have that scenario happening, you aren't going to be able to take advantage of as many things because there's simply not going to be as many silly opportunities that are presented. Like they're not going to make the dumb calls. It's just not going to happen because nobody's going to call a dumb fire giant and without Twig saying, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, literally. He's like, guys, let's just chill out here. We have a Neath mid in a Tiamat ADC. We don't burn this. Like, so.
We talked a lot about the bans for towards Twig, but we didn't talk much about the bans that Skpeso could face, and I would imagine we're gonna see that Fafnir go away.
Honestly, the Fafnir looked great. I like the character's really good. We saw Terra banned away. We saw Sobek banned away. All very solid bans. But this Fafnir, it's a really high damage pick. It gives you a lot of pressure, but it also lacks in peel. Maybe you want to see something that can do the best of both worlds. Maybe something like an Atlas, or something like, if it's not banned, maybe Terra, because Terra's insane right now. Yeah. So maybe we see an adjustment there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Fafnir go away.
So the update on what Smite Game is showing, now they're showing Digits is playing marbles, and they're showing that on the main
Oh, nice,
screen.
nice.
Love that. Smite 2 cannot come soon enough.
So excited for it, honestly. Again,
Yeah,
there's a tournament
I was
coming
gonna
up on
say,
the first of the
speaking
month.
of Smite 2,
Yeah.
do you know who you're playing with yet? If you can
Yeah,
say.
yeah. I will be playing with. Let me look at the full roster. But I was asked a couple days ago. I'll be playing with. Let's see. Super Deathfang actually. Strat and Soup 22.
Okay, not familiar with
and
Soup,
myself. Yeah, no, Soup's he's a good buddy. He's been around in collegiate sometimes, so I've known him for a little bit. Yeah. So, but we'll be playing it. Maybe we'll do a double jungle kind of thing. Maybe I'll actually be support. Maybe I will be the jungler. We'll see. It just kind of depends on what gods are in the playtest. Is what we all kind of decided. We said, oh, like depending on what characters they let us play, we'll put roles.
You
to
know
that
what I'm
later.
excited about? Because it's a new game and you have the learning phase of it. Old Smite 1 competitive was so funny.
Yep.
There was so much fighting.
Yep, that's so true.
You go back to like season 1, 2 SPL. There's like 50 kill games that are pretty casual on regular season week 2 SCC back then. So I really hope that I really hope that's something we see a lot of. I mean, I'm excited for that. I think the other main thing I'm excited for, as we are into picks and bans, the other main thing I'm excited for is getting to see like names like you guys, like Strat, SDF, Sunprod, you know, even some SEC people like Rat Milk, Tegv, are getting to see names like that actually compete on an equal playing field. You know, no friend league allegations of them having advantages already being in there. It's just everyone's on that same level. I'm so excited to see that.
No, that's actually a really exciting thing for the whole amateur community. Is that, you know, with new game, you know, a lot of like new things to learn, but like there's no established like, oh, like there's these people in the league. I gotta network with these people to try and get in, or I gotta be lucky to get on a team with X or Y person. So everyone gets a shot, and I'm super excited for that.
All right, bans. The Neath, no surprise. The new WOD's interesting. The Terra and the Lancelot. So Team Captain Twig were bothered, you know, talking about how what we saw on paper didn't really match what actually happened in game. They felt that damage from that Lancelot.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I think also with your with the Neath ult being out of the equation, having that global stun taken away from you, you're like, oh, maybe we just don't want to deal with Lancelot. That was like our best counter to it if they wanted to pick it. So maybe that's their thinking. But you also see this Terra ban coming up from Captain Twig and a Wukong ban. They said, hey, Twig's not a one trick. You know, Bologna goes through again. So they're like, hey, like we beat you on Bologna once, pick it. Have it. Take it.
Yeah, you can have it. No interest. We're good. We're cool. We don't want to run it back. I'm surprised there's no Fafnir ban, though. I honestly would first pick it. I know it sounds crazy, but it just looks so good. Obviously, it's comfortable, and you can do so much around it. I know, gotta get that focus back.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm blurry. I'm blurry face.
I love I love that it's not focusing on anything else.
Yeah, let me do like a lighting change. Maybe, and now slowly.
Yeah, I knew there was a new 21 Pilots album and how to get you blurry face.
There we go. Worked it.
All right, SDF Kuzenbo, first lock.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it could be a flex pick. It might go to it might go to Skpeso. He does also play the pick. It's a
I would like that
pick
change of pace though. I don't know about you for SDF.
Oh yeah, for sure. Kuzenbo is it's his favorite Guardian solo laner. So I'm not surprised to see it. But we see Sobek and a Vulcan hover. I like this.
The Vulcan is a good call for me. I feel like one thing that with the Neath gun, the Vulcan can do, and honestly, even if the Vulcan is a flex and is going to ADC, the Vulcan is giving you that same sort of damage you cannot ignore from the turret that the Neath ultimate brought, with the added benefit of range and objective secure that they did not have.
Yep. No, for sure. And I mean, again, Vulcan turret, that's good objective damage. That's something that the Neath also just didn't have last game. So now, like, Elder's gonna be able to flex to like a more like, hey, like I can just have the backline and kill people. I don't need to be the objective burn this time. This time, if Captain Twig gets a lead, they can just rip objectives now, and that they have the secure, they have the damage to back it up too. We're seeing an Athena hover for Team Skpeso, and he gets locked in.
Hey, I was on it with the SDF Kuzenbo. I'm feeling hyped up.
I mean, listen, it might be the Kuzungle. It might be a Kuzenbo jungle. We never know. So
yeah, true. Yeah, the reason I like it so much for SDF is I'm not saying this in any kind of bad way, but you can't you're not curb stomping as Bologna. You're not pub stomping in this lobby. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
And not that I think that they thought that in game 1, but in game 1 they said, hey, Bologna's open. I go crazy on Bologna. I'm locking this in, and I'm getting 20 kills. And it didn't happen, and you couldn't get the damage across. Kuzumo doesn't have that problem. Kuzumo's just going to walk into the backline and live and be annoying, which is kind of what the Mulan was doing, obviously with the added benefit of the amount of damage Twig was doing. And the Rama, exactly what we asked for. Tank Shredder.
Yep. I mean, overall, like you have a pretty safe lane with Athena and Rama. Rama shouldn't really be dying to see like overextend. Athena can answer any rotation, any gank, pull relics really easy. She
go
probably
fish
also
in
won't
SK
die.
Peso's chat while you give this point.
Oh yeah, exactly. But we see it countered by Captain Twig's team locking in Kukulin. One of the highest pressure solo laners that you can get right now, and you're going to be pairing that with Sobek. Insane relic pool, really good engage. So I mean, Kukulin dive with Vulcan ult on top of you, you might just die. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to answer this back. Rama has a good time surviving this dive. I want to see what mid laner they end up picking, and honestly, what kind of jungle angle they end up trying to go towards this game. Artemis gets banned away by Captain Twig.
The Artemis run back is understandable. I feel like the Artemis could have been a really interesting, an interesting pick here. We could have seen it be a weird flex that in mid that would have been double tank shredder, essentially double objective shred. That could have been gross. So good call. But as for the rest, I don't really know where we go from here.
Yeah, honestly, like the Thor ban, Thor's pretty good in the Vulcan. You know, nothing crazy about that. You dunk on top of Vulcan, you might insta kill him. He does it at every god in the game. So like Thor ban, sweet, I respect it. Skpeso ban away the on her, and then they're looking towards something else. Maybe they want to take another ADC option away. Charybdis was banned last game. I wouldn't be surprised if they saw that get banned away here.
I was looking up because I just heard. I'm listening to the comms of Skpeso, and they were saying that they're debating the last ban, and they were saying they're not really against banning the Tiamat ADC, but they're pretty undecided on what they want to do with it.
I mean, do they really go Team ADC with Vulcan mid already? I feel like that's like maybe just like you have a physical mid laner, get a magical ADC. Because if not, like, I mean, I'd say let him have the Tiamat here, honestly, you know.
I agree, because it wasn't that amazing, and you have a better composition for it. So you can almost allow it in knowing that you can take advantage of it.
Well, it seems like no ban on Skpeso's team, and Tiamat does get hovered.
I hope it gets locked in. I feel like, well, I hope it gets locked in for Team Skpeso. If I'm Team Captain Twig, though, I probably leave it on the drawing board for this game. I feel like this isn't the greatest call. I could eat my words, and that's okay. Oh, the Chiron.
Okay, I like the Chiron. It ends up surviving a lot of the Kuzenbo Athena dive very well, putting tons of damage into the backline as well. This might be Chiron mid Vulcan ADC.
I caught another traffic cone! Dude!
I got a fish now. I got a fish. I got to see what I catch. Oh no.
I'm so pissed. Sorry, I had to go see what I get, and I get another traffic cone. I got that before the stream too.
Oh, Skpeso said, guys, I think it's cooked. Need some motivation.
J-Mac is roasting him for typing that. I love this. I love this content cup. Such a wild time.
A blizzard is upon us.
We love to see it.
Oh
wait,
man.
He's doing a motivational speech.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
I wish we could get a listen in, but yeah, he's giving a motivational speech. I'll give the big stuff.
Yep.
We're 2-0. You know, this would be cool being 3-0. He's spitting. We made top 4. You know the vibes. Okay.
Listen to my words.
That was the speech. All right.
Yep.
I'm running through a foam wall for that speech.
Oh man.
We'll see if that speech does a lot of work. The Mammon and the Scotty does go insane. I love having the Scotty in this matchup here, because you didn't get the Artemis, but I'd argue the Scotty works out better. My only real question mark would be the Mammon, but Parad's a pretty gross Mammon player who I feel like brings the character up a little bit.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, I think the Scotty pick I'm a Scotty enjoyer. I have like 9K worshippers on my character. Love her. But man, into Sobek Hun Bats. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh man, like listen. A triple double is a really fun thing to have. Double digit deaths, double digit kills, double digits, double digits assists, and you're on a team with digits. So digits can't be a bad thing here. I'm excited to see how the Scotty mid works out.
You know, one thing that's cool about us being on my stream and just kind of chilling, I don't have to like, if I need to read something, I can just say, hey, I gotta read something. My Rocket League cast tonight canceled, so we're vibing on a Saturday night. I have a night to myself on a Saturday. That hasn't happened to me in months. I mean, it's unfortunate it got canceled, but like, I'm not gonna complain about time for me.
Yeah, exactly. It's whatever. It's fine. More personal time, we take that. We take that around here.
I'm torn because I'm a little bit biased towards Skpeso, and I'm always in any tournament where there's kind of a hybrid of like players in the amateur scene and some pros. I always lean amateur scene just because call me a dreamer, call me glass half full. It's the future of the scene, so I'm excited to see them perform better. So I'm a little biased, but I do think the Scotty, Maman, Rama as your damage trio is much more impactful than what we saw. I have the same fear as you, as the Humbot Sobek just absolutely dunking on the Scotty. Yeah. But I feel like they wouldn't have picked that they wouldn't have picked that with zero idea of what they can do to play around it. Surely.
It's true. I think it can cook. I'm a Scotty believer. I love that character. I think it personally can cook. So I'm excited to see Sunpred on the Maman. I've seen him play it in ranked. He is absolutely filthy on the character. He gets away with so much stuff. Like he lives things that he should not be living. It's so funny. So I'm really excited to see how he plays his character against a team like Captain Twig's team.
Shout out to Cardwell Legacy typing in Skpeso's chat. Is this my playing Scotty mid? Back it up. Vulcan ADC Scotty mid. Is Charity a joke to y'all?
Oh, that's so funny.
I like that Carvel says that, having had the FF on the other side of the bracket. Content cup moment.
Yeah, I was like, they also like there's no way their team chose to play today. I was like, wait a minute. So
yeah. Oh wow. I got a bit of I don't want to say a spoiler, but I looked over at the Smite Game stream as I was closing, and I saw Skpeso just spinning in circles in front of the frog, and got myself.
Oh,
busy.
W-Mans.
So, shout out to D-Lo. That's my favorite frog reaction is D-Lo. Do you ever see his clip of him reacting to the frog in OSL?
I don't think so.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely. I'll make sure I send it afterwards.
Oh,
but yeah,
better.
It's one of the funniest plays ever. He didn't know it was a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He just learned about it during the cast. It's funny.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, we'll be close to game soon. It's not gonna be it's gonna be a fun one. You've gotten to do the one cast in bronze, but I didn't expect to see any cast in bronze behavior today. But we get a little of it.
Listen, Vulcan ADC is gonna cook, man.
Vulcan ADC could cook.
So I'm all
Vulcan
here for it.
perma tilts me. There's something about that character. It always has been. I don't know if it's because he's loud. It's because all his abilities kind of, they knock you up. They make your screen feel loud, and it's just tough to play around him. I don't know what it is, but Vulcan is my nightmare in Smite.
Genuinely, I hate playing against him. He's so slippery. Like, it's just like gross to dive. If you don't have like a good dive to insta kill him, he just like walks away. You know, Soul Gem procs on every shot of the turret now, so he just heals infinitely. I'm just like, okay.
Because I'm not the greatest Smite player in the world, but I understand the concept of you can just walk past them. Sometimes you take the fight, and that's how you counter. It's kind of like Dark Souls, when you learn the way you kill a boss is by you walk up to the boss and you fight them because their hitbox is smaller, or their attacks are not meant for short range. It's the logic for Vulcan would be the same, but sometimes you do that and you go against a demon who Call of Duty 360 no scopes you with this backfire. It makes me break my desk in two. Like, there's no. It's so. You can see the PTSD seeping out of me.
Every Vulcan player plays different too, which is also just like you can't even get used to playing against the god anymore.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, no. Someone just DM me. They're like, "Oh, bro, like, you watching the Skpeso game?" I was like, "Yes, man. I am watching
it from the best angle.
Yeah, in fact, I'm watching from a top-down perspective right now, actually. So.
All right, it's game time. Thank you, Tess, on production. They've been doing great. Those angles were pretty insane in game one, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Catching Twig's dives every time was no small feat, and we get to see Digits spin around like a psycho.
Oh,
Where
let's
is
go.
it? There
Oh,
it is!
goes.
Let's
There it goes.
go!
Heck yeah. Listen, this is premium frog gameplay.
Skpeso, a psycho in front of the frog and a psycho on Twitter.
Yeah, honestly. Look at his
That's my
tiny health bar.
advertisement for him.
Yeah, the frog has like a tiny health bar. Look at that. No. Oh,
Wow,
okay.
that was toxic.
Yep. Oh well. The intoxicated diplomat has shot the frog, made it go bye-bye. Everybody boo this man. Boo.
Big time booze.
Oh man.
I'm excited for this game. I feel like this is going to be one of those just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. Is Scotty going to go first side in Blackthorn or?
Oh, surely. I hope so. Like I think Blackthorn with Bluestone, maybe a Jotun's in there. Maybe just build all the hammers actually.
Ooh,
So-
the hammer build on Scotty.
It might cook. It might cook. But no, I mean I think Blackthorn, Jotun's, into like I don't know, like Pale Knot or something. It could be a good angle.
Okay. I like that. I'm behind the idea of that for sure. I wonder what else could be an interesting cookery here. I'm assuming Ting Tub's gonna go that same build we saw from the Tiamat in game number 1, which obviously worked.
Yeah, no, I mean I hope so. I'd be really interested to see how it works out. Oh. This is some
All
good
right,
pressure coming out right
I
now,
love
yeah.
I love the inting. Speaking of angles, the inting angle.
Yeah, no, like for real. We see some health bars being traded, but Team Captain Twig is still pretty healthy. Drunk is getting kind of getting ran out by the Sobek. So.
You know, if you are the Scotty Maman talking about the dive of the Hoombots, this pre-level 5 territory where Hoombots isn't a character yet, this is where you can make up some ground and you can kind of make it a non-issue. It seems unlikely because obviously Elder and Seahost are not bad players who are going to throw away their lives, but if you can get a pick or two or even just keep the Hoombots behind a bit, that you could do a lot for the future of this game.
It's true. I mean, before, pre-level 5, as you're saying, Hunbats really doesn't, do a lot. He monkeys around and, through the jungle, and that's basically it. But once he does hit 5, it's going to be really problematic for this Scotty in mid lane, I think. So you want to try and leverage the amount of pressure you can get early.
One thing I like a lot about Sunprod's Maman is the target selection for Maman is always the key. I feel like a lot of players lose Maman at who they decide to seize, where they position. And Sunprod is somebody who doesn't really make those mistakes in Maman. It's usually the correct target. The damage is usually spread wisely. And it's one of the reasons, again, when Sunprod plays Maman, I'm more of a believer than when most do. But Sunprod now, getting dove on, but Spirit Seas used wisely to avoid most of the damage. But the Scotty could not find a safe way to path into the fight. Thankfully, for Skpeso, did not matter.
I mean, you end up getting the Chiron beads there too. And listen, a little bit of a scepter fight happened there. Oh, Twig kind of bullying out the Kuzenbo now, but Kuzenbo won the scepter battle, so like he's up,
You've played with SDF before. When SDF plays that Kuzenbo, is there a particular mindset shift that SDF plays with the Kuzenbo, where maybe they're playing for later in the game and for team fights, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys in a little secret. This man, when he plays Bologna, when he plays Kuzenbo, when he plays anything that has like any amount of like backline dive potential, his brain just pictures one thing, and it's the W key on a keyboard. He during lane he's gonna be scrapping. He's gonna play for his first round power spike, but he might not rotate out. He's not gonna rotate unless like someone asks him to rotate out or something like that.
Right.
But if he can get into the backline and like make
Dude
the
turns on
backline
Netflix
miserable-
for the laning phase.
No, like literally, yeah. And then like he wants to farm for the point to where he can make a backline miserable. And once he gets to that point, he's happy. He'll dive you in Phoenix. He'll dive you in your fountain. It's a great time for him. But the Chiron flying through, doesn't hit any mark. But I like the attempt.
Captain Twig a bit low. SDF forcing the issue, does get pushed back, but has the pull online. This is a decent trade here for SDF. Could
Oh,
be a
so
kill.
close.
Oh, it's so close. But there is no magical blue stone.
Unfortunate. Now, we do see him go Sigil there. If he has any other starter, I think he maybe kills. If he has Axe there, I think the Axe damage is enough to kill. But either way, he said, hey, Sigil was OP last game. I want to mitigate 100k damage as well. I'll build it too. So,
What are you eating?
listen. So I made like this burrito, right? And I was like, oh, like, I'm going to save it for a good time. This is that time.
Yeah, the Vulcan ADC, the Scotty mid. That is a good time to bring out the burrito. I'm behind
Listen,
that.
It has like every like fajita veggie you can think of. Has some good steak in there, some good rice. It's bigger than my head.
I was talking to my my girlfriend recently. She's not a Smite player, but she's a Smite watcher. You know, obviously, your boyfriend casts 600 games in 2 years. And you know a thing or two about Smite.
Yep.
And I haven't gotten. Obviously, I've done either cast or done production for everything of cast and bronze so far. But I was saying the first one that I don't do anything with, where somebody else casts and does prod. When we watch it, we're just gonna get like the meal for 4 from Taco Bell together.
Yeah.
Just like sit down with some bronze gameplay, funny casting, Crunch Wrap Supreme, crunchy tacos. Like, oh, what a vibe, you know?
Oh no, it's actually immaculate. You know, my girlfriend also does the same thing. You know, your boyfriend plays Smite for however long I've been playing Smite at this point. Do amateur scene comp stuff, and then you end up picking up like, hey, like. You bought a ward, like you end up picking up some things. So yeah.
I've always wanted to try.
definitely-
I've wanted her to cast a game with me on like Rocket League or something for fun, very much so, but not quite yet. A hard came in on Captain Twig. First blood, maybe so. He's still alive. SDF's got to be safe, but the Spirit Seize does enough, and the tower doesn't kill. That's what we're talking about with that Spirit Seize from Sunprod.
That's a good thing. I mean, the Kakolin's level 8 already. Putting him behind where he's building Soul Eater first, putting that damage item first. You want to just try and put him down as much as you can. We're going to see maybe Hunbat gets a blue invade off. Maybe he ends up getting it. I think they secure. Oh, no, he stole it. He did invade the blue.
Ooh, Elder, a little bit later, if that ultimate had been online still, if it had been used differently, that was a double kill in the making.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's that
100%.
spectator nerves we were talking about before game 1,
Yeah, no, for sure. No, again, like Elder just loves like taking the enemy jungler's farm. Like warding your jungle against Elder is not a bad. Like, he's gonna be in it pretty often.
It's funny, last week when I was doing Content Cup for S.Dot and Dorby, they had the same thing. Game 1, they cast completely normal. Game 2, they were some wild picks, and they kind of had the same vibes. Like, oh, all right, I guess we're watching a movie,
No, like honestly, I feel like the first 10 minutes of the game, it's like, oh, like we're gonna temperature check each other. We're gonna throw some kappas at your feet. Maybe it does 20 damage, maybe it doesn't. We're gonna see if an insane play gets made here, but other than that, they're scaling to like they're all, I think, about 3 items in. So I think we're gonna have a pretty smooth sailing, pretty chill early game, at least this game.
I'm sitting here thinking, I'm pondering. The objectives were such a big thing, and you don't go Rama Scotty without intent on slamming through objectives and shredding them later. But the Vulcan Chiron and the Woundbots is such a good answer. It's so rare you see 2 teams that actually have enough to contest and prioritize objectives.
Right. I mean, on one hand, you have Team Skpeso, where they can shred objectives pretty well. Oh my gosh.
They can also shred Captain Twig pretty well. Skpeso
yeah,
will get
from
the
the
credit
looks of it.
for it, though. So that's 2 kills now for the blue side. And no fight after the fact. Both teams just kind of wanted to step away. Big pickup, though. You mentioned the need to keep the Kakolin down, and doing just that. You see the 500 gold, so essentially the bounty difference brought back. Experience pretty strong, though. 2,000 is nothing to really forget about for the side of Team Captain Twig.
Yeah. I mean, I like the adjustment that we're seeing from game 1 to game 2 here. You see a lot more focus being put onto the solo lane. Kakolin's definitely feeling it now. He's getting a lot more rotations put on him. We also see the same thing happening, with Team Captain Twig. They're pressuring this guy's blue buff. You have Hunbats and Kakolin just waiting to try and take it here. Maybe you're going to see some secure angle here, but it's kind of gone. Yeah, it's kind of gone.
Unlucky indeed.
Yeah, simply unfor it. So
You know, one thing, shout out to D-Lo. I think you and I have talked about this recently. He had a cast recently in Cast in Bronze. He ran Chair 2. It was his first time running Chair 2.
Nice.
In a long time. You know, getting more analytical. And within the first couple seconds, Z-Tan asked him a question about items. And D-Lo knows a lot about Smite for somebody who doesn't play the game very often. And is
Valid.
And is an amazing caster. Everyone knows I'm the D-Lo stan.
As you should
But
be, yep.
the Doom Orb answer for D-Lo was a bit lacking. So, for myself and for D-Lo, again, shout out to the GOAT, Doom Orb first item. It's something that we didn't see for a long time. And it's back. It gives me vibes of the old 500 power potion. But what's the logic behind grabbing it so early nowadays?
Well, you have a couple ways you can build it. You can get T2 Doom Orb out of Fountain and not get any pots and have an insane like early game like lane 1, lane 2. And maybe you get an early kill off it and then you back and get pots after. So you can play that. But in the way that we're seeing it now, we're seeing it built in the jungle. The T1 and T2 are relatively cheap. They're really, really good options early. You end up getting movement speed. You end up getting a little bit of flat pen on the completed one. The pass is really good for you as well. Decent power at a pretty okay cost. So overall, like just the compounding nerfs to other magical jungle items and the subsequent buffs and like price decreases to do more are what we're gonna see. Like that's why we're seeing it in jungle more often now. So it's okay, but let's see how okay it is because this Vulcan gets his beads burned early. Maman getting the dive on and he's just dead. He's just dead.
Yeah, sometimes you're just dead.
Yeah, I mean, nothing else you can really do there is Vulcan. You backfired, you beads. You've now built a full breastplate, so now maybe you live the Rama autos a little bit quicker, but you just die. It is what it is.
It is what it is, indeed. There is a Hoombots lurking on that deep solo side, and the blue buff not up immediately, so could look for a gank here. You see the way Elder's looking just in case SDF overplays. There it is, the blink. There's the Fear No Evil. It works out perfectly, but the pull is there. SDF still hanging on by a thread. Twig will die. Will he live?
Yep.
No! SDF does make it work with the backup from the tower. It turns into a 1-for-1 trade. Some scummery is afoot, though.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
No,
not like this.
He doesn't know.
Not
Pepe
like this.
Pepe
Oh,
left.
no.
Did not know. Spirit Freeze to the end. Does he die? Yes. It did take the corpse explosion to bring him down. The Rama ult as well for some safety. Drunk Diplomat might be left in an island, but the tier 1 will fall. But there is a Chiron on the way as well. Watch what the Chiron can do. Dr. Bojo committing to try to buy some time. The Chiron ult may be a bit early there. Could have gotten closer to get some better damage across. We'll only find poke. Team Captain Twig will walk away. Skpeso is making it they're making it a game, which, you know, I'm biased for Skpeso, but wait, we're gonna be out of here before 5 no matter what. So part of me is like, all right, make it quick then, so we can see some of game 3. What's gonna happen?
Exactly. No. Again, Seahawks rotates there. Maybe takes the shots a little too soon. You know, takes a couple shots in the dark there. Misses, which what could have been deadly damage. But we end up seeing great answers by Team Skpeso. A little bit of, cringe ganking on the Vulcan ADC.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, Vulcan literally just says, hey, like, I died. I'm going to glyph my breastplate. Maybe I don't die next time. You got the Aegis out of him that life and the ultimate. His beads are going to be coming back up in a couple seconds. He's upgrading his beads so he can get them back very quickly. We see Maman soloing Bull Demon. We see some good macro play by Team Skpeso. They're taking a small gold lead here. And we see Bull Demon go down in their favor.
Well, 5-1. Going up in 13 minutes, and Captain Twig still being pressured out in solo. Sobek's here, Hoombots on a rotation as well. Skpeso does not have ultimate, but is not chasing the Hoombots. It's just kind of lurking. Might not even need it. The fight fizzles out. That's the problem with those solo lane fights. You never really know what way they're going to go because Smite has evolved to a point where the highest skill players just really pay no mind to solo.
It's true. I mean, this game though, we're seeing Blue Biff invaded on cooldown. They said, hey, Kuzumbo, you're not going to get this thing. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
A small lead get mounted up here, because of it. A 1-3 could Cullen still level up, just purely based on the XP he's been getting, the farm he's been allowed to have. Now we're going to see a Scepter battle. Scotty Ice being so integral to it, but Scotty
goes to Athena. Let's go. Skpeso secure it. Scotty Ice is so good for it.
Yep, we
You
love
know,
to see
one
it.
time I saw it was such a wild one because it was a Ganesh and a Kuzenbo, so they kind of countered themselves, fighting over the Jimmy, as April calls it. Another cringe
No.
cake on the Ting Tub on that Vulcan ADC. Actually, a pretty good knock-up. You know, flowers where they're deserved. Ting Tub with as good of an effort as it could have been. Here's the response from Team Captain Twig. A taunt in, beads by Elder, jumps away. They won't overcommit to the fight, but they will get plenty of good poke across. And to me, Hydra, and obviously I'd like you to dive a bit deeper on it. That rotation from Team Captain Twig is a warning. If Skpeso do that again to Vulcan, the response is going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that really shows that they're not just gonna let Vulcan die on an island to himself. They are going to try and rotate and try and save him next time. They're burning this to try and get over there. Scotty does a good job stalling that rotation, using her Calder ultimate in the Winter's Grasp to try and slow them down from getting over there, and slows them down just enough to A, confirm the kill on the Vulcan, B, make it out of there safely as well. So we're seeing some pressure get allowed in mid lane because of it.
Elder is going to fight the jungle buffs, so not going to commit to anything if they do dive the tier 1, but no interest for that. The fights are weird this game. It feels like Skpeso is trying to speed run almost through the towards late game, which does make a lot of sense given the characters they have. And I feel like the mid game for Team Captain Twig is so dangerous that they're not being allowed to be dangerous in this mid game.
It's true. I mean, again, we're seeing a really high kill deficit right now, 6-1, but the farm's still relatively even. Barely a 1k gold lead mounted by, in either direction. Gold charts is still pretty even as well. Just depending on how the next big fight on an objective goes, it's going to really dictate what ends up happening. We're going to see a Gold Fury pool happen right now.
I like where Drunk Diplomat is, does have ultimate online. Athena's on the way. It's looking pretty. Here's the Rama ult. Gonna be close. Times it well, but Team Captain Twig are able to get the Gold Fury. Needed that second shot to come out faster. Skpeso stepped up. You know, one thing Digits has always been so good about is positioning, but that time just stepped a little bit too far.
Yeah.
And unfortunately couldn't get away. A big pickup for Team Captain Twig despite all the pressure they've had, Hydra, their gold lead, still not looking bad.
Yeah, exactly. Close, but no cigar, and Team Captain Twig wanted all the smoke after that Gold Fury ends up going down. Ending up picking it up onto the support, really important pick, I think, to end up getting a kill onto this early, trying to put your Sobek ahead, trying to slow down that starter item, getting built on the Athena also. But at the end of the day, you're just kind of closing up that gold lead that Team Skpeso was mounting up with that Gold Fury pool. Kuzenbo finally allowed to get a blue buff to himself, and you see Drunk Diplomat farming this duo lane, just trying to power farm his way to 20.
You kind of have to do that as a Rama when you've done so much to put this Vulcan behind. You're doing so the Rama can be Rama faster. And if you get that Rama faster, you can probably seal this game up pretty quick. Look at all those red jerseys collapsing on Skpeso. There will be a response from Sunprod. Captain Twig gonna dive in, look to make the fight a true issue. Elder holding on to ult still, and Skpeso here for backup. SDF in deep as well. This could set up a fight for Skpeso to dive in if they want to, but they're a bit spread on target selection. A rare, again, another odd one. Usually these players for Skpeso, target selection is one of their strong suits, but they couldn't find anybody they truly like to dive in on.
We're going to see the beacon come up here. We're going to see maybe a big scrap come up here. A lot of things weren't used in that jungle fight. They were saving them for this moment here. So we're going to see who ends up winning this beacon fight, who's going to blow this game wide open. We see Hunbats initiating the fight.
Earthshaker could do a lot, does indeed do a lot. Brings 2 down below half health for Skpeso. They've got to get back out of there. The Chiron slow does wonders too. Drunk Diplomat will be left to the slaughter. Down goes the Rama. Mando gets knocked around. A big dive from Dr. Bojo, but hasn't been able to set up because had no backup. But the backup is here in the form of Captain Twig. Brings down Mando. That's Digi B is going. Team Captain Twig. The kill deficit erased. The gold lead swung. Team Captain Twig is looking great once again.
I got 2 words. Big circles. That's exactly what just won. Hunbats ends up getting a huge ultimate there, locking down for the Vulcan ult. And you just see Athena doing Athena things, trying to get in there, slow him down, but ends up dying for it. You've lost your whole mid lane off that push. You lost Beacon off that push. And now, Team Captain Twig, erasing the gold, disadvantage they had, getting a small gold advantage. And now poised to end up pulling an objective here if they so see fit.
You know, the most problematic thing that we've seen so far for me is favoring the side of Team Captain Twig. The
Would
Vulcan
that be?
should
Huh?
not be on par with the Rama and where they're at.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. You spent the entire game kind of like war criming this Vulcan. Like that's what it is. Like you did war crime this Vulcan several times actually. And your Rama's even. You know, your Rama does not have a level lead. Maybe that's just due to the Rama rotating to these fights a little bit earlier and missing some of the waves. We did see that when they fought in the jungle. Vulcan was just pushing waves, just shoving. He got like 3 waves that Rama did to get into closing up that XP differential. But maybe you don't want to rotate your ADC out until he hits 20 at this point. Vulcan is dead even, and Vulcan's now rotating for this team fight. You're looking for this guy.
Mando down low, being chased out by Elder. There's the monkey teleport. Mando will live on a breath of HP somehow. Kudos to the Scotty for getting out of there.
Yeah, you know, Scotty does end up making it out of there. Drunk Diplomat saying, hey, like, maybe I don't want to rotate here. He's looking to split push here. If I'm Team Skpeso, I'm looking to stall this Fire Giant fight. And the only person in this area to do it is Kuzenbo.
We'll see how long Kuzenbo can stall them on the way. Rama going to push up to the Phoenix. SDF still keeping everybody from backing the Chiron. Will be the first to try to break away and get back to base. Rama at the Phoenix. Here's the damage. The first back is going to be Vulcan. Will not be in time. That Phoenix should go down. And Skpeso wastes enough time. Phoenix.
On.
There it goes.
Yeah, there
It
we
was
go.
a close call, though. Jeez. I don't know if Drunk Diplomat's getting out of there.
Nah. Like, personally, like, if he dies here, it's fine. You got the best bird on the map. You're setting your team up for a really advantageous Fire Giant position. Yeah, he's dead. But he's not using his beads. His age is going to come back up. He didn't use ultimate to try and stall, like, you know, to stall for time there. He knew. He said, hey, I got the bird. They're coming towards me. They're not on fire. But now they're splitting the map, going Gold Fury and Pyromancer. And it doesn't seem like Team Skpeso is anywhere in the same area code as any of the objectives. Pyromancer goes down. Gold Fury, probably next on chopping block.
Cross waiting for its explosion. Bit too. No,
Got
it's
it.
right on
Got it.
time. Wow, I thought it was a little bit too early, but the explosion itself got that Gold Fury for Skpeso.
Listen. Maman, not the greatest objective secure, but she did everything she needed to do there. So in that fight, you end up getting a Gold Fury, a left Phoenix, a left T2 tower as well from that split push, and you kept them off Fire Giant. Now, I mean, you're still behind, but oh, it's on the walk on the Vulcan.
Oh, did Vulcan go to lane? That's not okay.
Yeah, well, he's dead. He's dead. He paid for his sins of, you know, locking in the character. And now, you know, Athena Mammon just ends up being on that character so easily. Now, in a team fight setting, that's going to happen a lot less, I believe. But where he's the ADC, he needs to try and push up for his own farm. He's going to just die like that a lot. And he's still level 19, still even with the Rama. He's 0-4-3. He's still scaling. Tablet stacked about 25. Book of Thought's going to be stacked probably by the end of his next life. And we're going to see Soul Reaver, I believe Soul Reaver coming out next. So he's getting his damage online. He's still not like perfectly comfortable to do what he wants to do. But Team Skpeso pulling this Fire Giant. We might see a nice little Fire Giant going to happen here soon.
Team Captain Twig, not really afraid of it. You can actually see red jerseys closer. Some poke will find the way of Skpeso, but now it's a commit from Sunprod and SDF. They're going to find a kill on a Sea Host. It's a rampage for the Mammon. The Fire Giant gets a 2-man knockup, but it hasn't affected Skpeso too bad
He's
quite
back.
yet. Drunk Diplomat low, the dash, the
Ooh, he
ult
gets in the
is
air.
in time to survive. The snipes will hit, and on the landing, you should be safe because nobody can break through.
Scotty
He can
eye.
step back up even. Sunprod going to find another one at Zelda,
That's
and another
3.
one at that. That's 3 kills for Sunprod in this fight. SDF can run Captain Twig around in circles. There might even be a war crime on a Vulcan here soon. A great fight for SK.
Oh, he stepped up his mistake.
The ult, no Spirit Seas, the Aegis, but now it's down for the damage. The Vulcan will go down. That's 4 kills in that fight. A delayed quadra for Sunprod. Captain Twig will just scurry back to base. What a fight for Skpeso.
That's exactly what we like to see. You know, they end up playing with their split map very, very well. The left bird ends up being a huge motivating factor for them to keep that fight. A fire wave does make its way to a tight lane, but now with so many bodies off the map, they're just clear to just do Fire Giant. The biggest secure threat was Vulcan, but Captain Twig's walking up. He's not gonna let this go for free. This might be huge.
If Twig gets the steal, it can set back all that was gained, but Skpeso do get the Fire Giant. Can they get away with their namesake? No. Captain Twig finds one. Still fighting. The Spirit Seeds will slow him down, but C-Host with backup with the big time ultimate will find another. So they lose Captain Twig, but they take the Fire Giant off of the ADC of Skpeso.
Well, I mean, good thing they have a second win. The Scotty is, I mean, she is an ability hunter, but she is still an ADC, so you're not really like hurting as much as you would be if it was a traditional mid laner. You still have a way to siege these objectives really well, to siege these towers and phoenixes really well. So now it's less about peeling for the Scotty and, you know, well, less about peeling for the Rama because he doesn't have FG anymore, and peeling for the Scotty who still has both relics up. She has a completed Bluestone Brute. She's gonna be doing a lot of team fight damage here. And by the way, Mammon, 8-0-3, still has all their relics as well. It's also still a big threat with this Fire Giant. So I'm like, it could be better. You could have fire on Drunk Diplomat, but you're not upset that you end up killing Captain Twig for it yet again.
Do you think it's more of a difference in how Sunprod is playing, or the team that's allowing Sunprod to play?
I think Sunprod. I think he's playing. I think he's playing differently than game one. He's not the one initiating these fights. You'll see the Kuzenbo get something started, or the Athena taunt somebody, and he'll quickly, within 2 or 3 seconds, make his way in, whether it's a good frontliner or he's just in a position to follow up very, very quickly. So he's not like a huge target, but you're gonna see this Athena ult come in.
Well,
And you're
lightning
gonna see
strike
Athena
twice?
chase them.
No, they scare him
Yep.
away.
Unlucky. But now you're gonna see them pick up this this Gold Fury. You see Kuzenbo looking to zone out the entire backline here, and they might.
Ooh,
and
it was
they do.
close. The Zentarion was close to getting the steal, but it does not. Now the snipes from Drunk Diplomat. Just for poke more than anything else. Skpeso does get plucked back. The damage is real good. Mando goes around in a circle, but misses out on the Hoombots, and C-Host will find one, Captain Twig another. The positioning of this fight was way too spread for Skpeso, and they're paying the Pied Piper for it. They might lose Mando too. Captain Twig on the dash, gets the stun, gets the damage too. Now has the monkey here. Elder brings down Mando. They turn. Can they bring down Sunprod? Not quite yet. Divine for the Mammon. And SDF is here in full health to help out Sunprod. In this 2v3, they find one and bring down Elder. Sunprod with the blink. Ankle shattered. Mammon trying to get out, but runs in to a Vulcan. The dash is good. The great escape from Sunprod.
So, as I was saying before the game, Sunprod lives a lot of. Oh, and there's the reflection damage. Haha. But Sunprod lives a lot of things on Mammon that he just should not. And that was genuinely a circus act. Acrobatic levels of juke shoes just were displayed there. He is really, really good on this Mammon pick. He's one of the few people I think that still make this pick look as high-end as it used to be, like last season when we saw it around Worlds time and people were just picking it every single game. He's really slippery on this character, and that's something that the Lancelot was not affording him to do. He ends up having a built-in Aegis basically with this dash, so he can still go this Beads Blink, but he can avoid a lot of damage that he wasn't able to avoid last game. And I think that's going to be the biggest like playstyle shift that we're going to be seeing in this set. If I'm Captain Twig and I'm going to game 3, you got to get him off the Mammon.
100%. Now Twig actually looking to see if they can make a pick happen, potentially. Team Captain Twig, they like these drawn-out fights where it doesn't begin like a pick, turns into a fight, but SDF does interrupt that with the flank and slows down the game plan from Team Captain Twig. They'll fall back to the Tier 2 tower. Skpeso can sit comfy. Their gold lead has grown to a strong 5K, 15-11. Which, with how this game started, I didn't think we were gonna get that many kills.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I think I was thinking the same thing you were, if I'm being honest. The Vulcan pick has not looked nearly as predominant as this as the team I picked it last game. Same build, just not the same effectiveness we're seeing. Not the same amount of abilities to stack up this tablet as quickly. Not the same amount of survivability either, and they're definitely paying the price for that as well. And you're also losing a lot of this big like burst damage that the Vulcan would be bringing since you're going this proc build. So, unfortunately, I think the Vulcan's getting punished a lot more than this T-Mod did last game. But, I mean, I think this game, Skpeso's team is just running the fights the way they want to. They're allowed to take these fights on their terms, which is a big, like, tempo shift than what we were seeing in game 1, where they were always on the defensive. They're always getting Neef ulted on. They're always getting Mulan Blink ulted on and getting their Lancelot forced out first. But now we might see Sunprod overextend. He's surrounded.
Can he get out? The dash is good. The follow's there. They know how big of a target Sunprod is, and they bring down the Mammon. Is there any more kills to be had? Team Captain Twig certainly think, though. They're still stepping up. Twig gonna find a stun on the one. Drunk Diplomat is the ultimate on the landing, though. Still trouble. That's a lot of red on the landing for the Rama. There he is. There he goes. Ting Tub, instant kill onto Drunk Diplomat. 2 picks for Team Captain Twig.
A rare positioning mistake by Sunpride. He ends up stepping up too far there without his front line, and his whole team isn't grouped up around the fire yet. So he ends up stepping there, ends up paying the price for it. Takes 2 blinks and a lot of ultimates to do it. But you now see SDF zoning out the backline to use it by himself.
Another war crime on the focus to force Ting Tub away. And honestly, Drunk Bojo not looking much better for it either. The Fire Giant was let go. Skpeso runs into Captain Twig, but with how tanky they are, it's more of a, how's the wife, how's the kid. SDF doesn't change that fact much either. I mean, that's a lot of tank in one little intersection. But they do stop the Fire Giant.
Yeah, again, very good. I think the next Fire Giant fight we're going to see is going to be for an EFG. And I think the first team that ends up getting that's going to really blow this game really wide in their favor. Sunpride also back alive. We're going to see a bomb go in favor of Team Captain Twig, so they're going to get a little bit better secure there. Might make up for their damage gap by this Vulcan build. But, I mean, if I'm Sunpride, I'm not making that mistake again. Like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you, or however the saying goes. He's not stepping up that far again. Like, he's not going to do that. So, you've taken your opportunity, and now you kind of reminded him that he can bleed. He was 9-0, now he's 9-1-4. And, he shows a little bit of blood, all that for a drop of blood, as they say. Yeah. But now we see both teams grouping in this mid lane. One team, Captain Twig, playing more towards this Fire Giant, looking for another pick. Ultimates back up on the table. Relics still pretty healthy on both sides. Beads down from Amon for about 25.
The Mammon is, we know it's going to be the priority for Team Captain Twig. It's how they get to the Mammon. That's the key. And I'm sure the calls from Skpeso are for Sunprod to be a little bit safer. Obviously, you shouldn't change the play style, but you just have to be aware that you are the target for Team Captain Twig. We've all said it in our lobby. Kill Mammon, we win the game. That's what Team Captain Twig is saying, and Skpeso have to react to that. And what's good for them, Hydra, they do have 2 ADCs they can lean back on.
It's very, very true. This front line can't just die for free anymore. So as long as they're able to let these ADCs not only free cast, that should be a pretty good, healthy fight for them. But Kuzma's going and taking a lot of damage while doing so. Let's see what happens off this.
We'll see how much of a commit it is. It looked for a second like the Sobek wanted to go for a pluck onto the Athena. We've seen that happen a couple of times to the Athena, and both times it's happened, they've been blown up. SDF did take enough poke to back up, and it looks like the Mammon's doing the same thing. So Captain Twig have a man advantage for the moment, but they don't have the same view as us, but they had a lot of wards out on that right-hand side, so they might know. A taunt into the pluck onto the Athena. Is that enough? But man, Sobek might have overplayed with that pluck as Drunk Diplomat erases the support for Team Captain Twig. That man advantage swings right on back. SDF with the trouble gives opening to Sunprod, but the damage from Elder was too much, and Sunprod had to back up and eat the Athena ultimate as well. So neither team is in a great spot to fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's just so big late game. You pluck in, you try to get something done, and if you don't have Aegis built, you're kind of fried, especially in the double ADC there. Unfortunately, he gets locked down into the tower, takes a couple tower shots as well, and Drunk Diplomat's able to just, plug some good shots into him. But also looking at Drunk Diplomat's build, he ends up going for a Diamond Arrow build and a Silver Branch angle as well. Very interesting angle, but it should be more than enough to cut through these frontliners.
It feels like the Mulan lives in their head rent-free, even 32 minutes into game number 2. 16-13, let's add some more to the tally. Let's call Fire Giant for Team Skpeso. Team Captain Twig is on the way. Vulcan's close enough to make a contest. Captain Twig's already in the pit. SDF playing defense. Skpeso, a lot of damage. There's the Earthshaker. Finds nobody, but Captain Twig does push them away. Now SDF dives in, but they can't get to their backline, who's being erased. Sunprod somehow able to find Elder. The snipes helped on Captain Twig, but they couldn't lock down the kill, but Sunprod is here and full health. And takes the Spirit Seas to get closer to more of Team Captain Twig.
This could be it.
For the double kill. Can they find even more than that? Drunk Diplomat brings down Dr. Bojo. SDF will run into Captain Twig and the Chiron. Keep him locked down. 3 dead for Captain Twig. Not everyone! Seahose with the fadeaway brings down SDF with the auto lock. That doesn't feel great, but still a 4 for 3.
In the words of the great Super Death Fang, darn. He ends up making infinite space there, and so zoning out basically the entire team. Pulls a lot of good relics for them, and now you're still even though you end up losing your soul laner, you're still really advantageous for this fire giant pool. 3 people still dead. You can pull it right now. You have your Lamont still like looking the zone, trying to find this Chiron. As long as Lamont can get onto Chiron, even if he ends up stealing it, maybe you don't feel that bad about it. Colin's gonna make his way into the pit though.
The definition of insanity. Will it happen again? Fire Giant down low. Captain Twig almost dead. Skpeso do get the Fire Giant. Can they take a Twig? Yes, they can. Drunk Diplomat finds the autos. And Sunprod says, okay, say less. No W key, only thumbstick forward. But it's thumbstick forward into a Fear No Evil, which almost brought down the Mammon. And Skpeso will retreat, but they got Twig and they got the Fire.
I mean, you have EFG on 4 people. The only person you're not having EFG on right now is SDF. And, like, yeah, that kind of sucks, but he is a tank. And he's Kuzumbo, there's not really a real ADC to shred through him either. You have this Vulcan that's doing a proc build. You have this Chiron that's not traditionally an auto attack character. So he can still get into the backline space even without an EFG buff and still live plenty for his team to end up doing enough work for him to, get good value out of his pick. If I'm Team Skpeso, I'm feeling really good about this. You have an 8k gold lead. You have EFG on 4. As long as you don't get like a weird fight in the jungle and get picked where you don't need to get picked, you're pretty poised to like do a really good base siege here. So.
I bet you're feeling thankful you had that burrito at the start.
Oh, listen. I'm glad I ate it when I could, because right now there's no room for me. There's non-stop action now. As I said,
you needed the vibes to be up for a game like this.
Exactly. It was a really slow early game, which is fine. They want to play it as slow as they need to. But now we're gonna see a Gold Fury fight possibly happening.
Skpeso get it quickly, but look at the damage. Oh my god! Sunprod gonna be gone. Auto lock strikes again. That's a huge pickup for Team Captain Twig. There's not necessarily a fight to be had, but that's 55 seconds with no Sunprod, and there's tier 2s on the map. There's map state to be had, and it slows down the push.
Yeah, me personally, if I'm dying to a Chiron ult like that, I'm feeling really bad about it. Again, Sunprod, he has his damage immunity if he's near somebody, but from damage so far away, he can't dash into an enemy to immune that kind of damage. He's still a beads blink jungler. He can just die. Really, obviously good aim by Seahos, using the Gold Fury as vision to try and find his priority target, being Sunprod, and also putting up tons of damage on Mando in the same ultimate ability. One more shot hits Mando and Sunprod. That's 2 people dead. You're probably looking at birds going down here.
It's never truly felt like Skpeso's game, despite the game save. 20-15 right now. The gold lead just under 10k at 36 minutes. So we are in 3k pot territory where that lead matters most. Obviously, relics and everything are mostly upgraded if you look across the relics for the side of Skpeso. That's where Team Captain Twig is still finishing things off. But not once in this game has it been like, oh yeah, this is Skpeso's game. We're locked into a game 3.
Yep. Unfortunately, with that pick happening on Sunprod, your Fire Giant push has been halted pretty much. Maybe you look for a single defense, like a single Phoenix push and maybe left lane, and it looks like that's going to be the play here. But you really can't overcommit for this. Your Fire Giant doesn't have that long of a shelf life left on it. You have a lot of people in mid lane. Maybe you want to take an early fight, but realistically speaking, you're playing for next Fire Giant. You can't end the game here unless they really make a really bad mistake. And Team Captain Twig has not made a really bad mistake like that also.
It's been the all-ins, the full commits to the EFGs that have been the name of the game, and where everybody's felt the most confident throwing Hail Marys. We saw that in game 1. I expect it to be the case again. Why wouldn't it? But this Chiron from Seahost, the Neath was so dominant in game 1, and the Chiron is picked up right where the Neath left off.
I mean, to be fair, I said hey, it feels really bad to take 800, 900 damage from half a mile away. It feels even worse taking 1400 damage from about half a mile away. Still a really long distance fight, but we see an insane grouping here on left side.
They had the vision, and they see the Sunprod. Will they get the kill? Masterful shot has enough damage. Sunprod gets picked again. All 3 deaths from Sunprod have been wards picking him off, and Team Captain Twig committing to the dive.
Yeah, me personally, that's me, and I've died to Chiron every time like that. I'm like, man, guys, I should have built Aegis. I'm feeling so bad. But it's really hard for Sunpride to really get to the back line the way that Captain Twig's team is playing. They're playing really far up in their jungle. They're grouping really well. Lamon really can't go in without burning a ton of stuff and maybe still dying. So unfortunately, we're at the point in the game where like, hey, like we get to group as 5. Vulcan is not the vulnerable little being he was for 35 minutes. He's now with us. He has a knock up and that's enough. So now we just try to kill Sunprod if he ends up stepping up to try and get something done.
The death of Sunprod only seemed to be a problem for the tier 2s. It does give vision advantage to Team Captain Twig as on their way out to back to base. They dropped a lot of wards deep in the Skpeso jungle. The EFG will be the next fight. It will be a 5v5. The beads are going to be down though on Mammon for the next 60 seconds, which it's a lot of time.
It's a really long minute you're gonna have to wait for outbeats. So, I mean, if I'm Team Skpeso, we have a gold lead, but gold doesn't matter 40 minutes. And at this point, everyone's full build. We're working on 3K pots. The thing is, you have 2 bombs. They have 2 bombs. The first team to pull this is gonna be really uncomfortable because no matter who pulls it, it's not a guaranteed secure. Vulcan ult doesn't guarantee secure. Golen's blinking in during the fight.
Skpeso is seeing if their 2 ADCs are enough to burn it down. They turn, look at Twig. Earthshaker will really just be used to give Twig the space to get away. SDF is not taking a lick of damage despite being in the face of Team Captain Twig. And it burned a lot. You see how many ultimates are down on the side of Captain Twig. Without the Kakolan, Chiron, Vulcan, not as easy of a fire. Skpeso are not forcing the issue quite yet on this Fire Giant.
I would like for them to like really play this aggressively. You know, the Chiron ult has been the bane of Sunprod's existence for the last couple team fights. With that tool being down, we might be able to actually play the game here in this fight.
And here it is. Here's that aggression you wanted, but Captain Twig already in the pit to try to contest. There's the lurking in the waters too. It's going to be a 50-50 for this fire. Fear no evil, committed. Skpeso get the Fire Giant. Now can you get out? Sunprod says no to Captain Twig escaping, and the Athena ultimate kept Prod safe. Drunk Diplomat with the early Rama ult for safety. Worked out great, able to get away. They look at Elder, they find Elder. Double kill for Sunprod. Dr. Bojo in the midst, brought down by Mando. SDF has handled that Vulcan. War Crimes, take a reflect. Pepe laugh for the turtle. Skpeso drop 4.
Really beautiful team fight by them. Again, the tools that they were using to keep Sunprod down, from keeping him from playing this game, they had burned that on the previous fight. And after they were able to recognize that and said, hey, like, Sunprod, you kind of go crazy here. Your beads are back up anyway. Burn them, like just do whatever. Like, now he's able to really play really aggressively. He's able to step up to the enemy team, and they did not have a counter for it.
You know, the counter at the end. Skpeso are calling game, and C-Host has no answer. That's going to be game number 2 going to Skpeso. They force a game 3 onto Team Captain Twig, and they do so in impressive style. 13 kills for the Prodigy himself.
Again, he looked phenomenal this set. He played that pick fantastically. It was awesome. Just straight up awesome. That's all you can say.
Should change my background to Mammon.
Oh, it's true. It's so true. It's so true. But talking about Mammon, I think Captain Twig's team, they gotta take that away. That he looked so comfortable.
100%.
He looked so deadly on that pick. You can't box him. He was 1v2ing. He was 1v3ing. He's living a 1v5, pulling relics, pulling 4 ultimates, and getting away with it. You know. And the only thing that put him down was like, you know, half a mile away Chiron ults and like an auto aimed ability. That's the only thing that was actually able to kill him. So.
You had such a good call out when you pointed out the idea of they know that Chiron ultimate is down, and it's been the bane of Sunprod's existence. So now that you know it's down, go in, take the fight, make it happen, because you have a way to keep Sunprod safe. They did just that, and it read 24-16, but 13 of those, which is no small number for Sunprod.
Yeah, again, more than half the kills going on with Sunprod, which actually. That's hilarious. That's just goofy. Yeah, you know, again, if I'm Team Captain Twig, I'm not letting him see that character at all next game. Like he's not seeing it, not one bit. They did ban away his Lancelot, so they were concerned about that. But if I'm Team Skpeso, I'm looking at Seahost. I'm looking at this player specifically on Team Captain Twig. He has been a standout player both games, Game 1 and Game 2. Game 1 on the Neath, he was a big issue. Game 2, he's the only thing that kept them in that game as long as it was. So if I'm looking at Team Skpeso's bans, I'm like, hey guys, like, we banned the Neath. Maybe we ban the Chiron, or maybe Sunpride does play a Willix. Maybe you let him have the Neath. Counterpick with the Willix. Ban the Chiron,
that.
force him onto the Neath. Just do anything. But
And
you
Wheelish
gotta
offers
look
a
at
lot
player.
that Mammon does too.
Exactly. So a lot of that 1v1 potential, a lot of that counter engagement as well, a lot of safety as well. He can get out and do these insane juke plays that we saw him do on this Mammon. No damage immunity, but still similar vein. So I'm really excited to see how they take their picks and bans into Game 3.
I am as well. It's unfortunate we're not gonna be able to cast Game 3 because AGL relegations are going on.
I know.
Gotta lose everybody. But man, what a good Game 1 and Game 2 we got to witness, and thankfully the casters over at Smite Game are amazing for a reason. So I'm sure they'll make that a fun experience, and because these games have been great. That's gonna do it for us with Game 1 and Game 2. Sorry we can't do Game 3, but AGL relegations start at 5, so can't keep the AGL faithful here, Tez and Chaotic Hydra, for too long. Check out Chaotic Hydra on Twitch if you're looking for a VOD, or if you're on Twitch, make sure to give a follow and check him out. So knowledgeable, so nice, so fun to watch the streams. There's a lot of cool stuff too. Watches back a lot of casts and gives deeper feedback, goes over decision making and stuff. A lot of cool stuff that a lot of the amateur players don't tend to do because they don't think anyone cares, but it is really good content, and especially with Smite 2 coming out soon, it's going to end up being valuable content. So give a follow there. Shout out to Tez. They did fantastic on production. I appreciate you doing it and doing the stuff. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Appreciate you, Glacier. Good luck running the relegations, Glacier, to you in April.
Yeah,
I'm
good
sure
luck.
You guys are going to have
good luck with that, man.
A fun one. That's going to do it. Thanks to Skpeso for being cool with us casting over it and having fun with that. I'm a big Sunprod guy, so a lot of stock in Sunprod in the gang. But all right, have a great night, everybody. Any last things from you, Hydra? I want to give you your chance.
Again, tune in to any more casting that Anthony does. Watch AGL relegations. I'm sure it's gonna be casted, so go show some love to AGL. They have a fantastic production team, fantastic casters, great vibes, great community. So go show some love to them. And if you aren't signed up for any leagues, I can highly recommend signing up for AGL. Right now, teams are relegating, but you might be able to find your way onto a team. Maybe you get picked up. So if you're looking for an amateur scene to kind of play in, look no further than AGL. So have
for
fun
sure, and make sure you check out Hydra playing in the Smite 2 tournament come up on Saturday, and I encourage you very much so to watch the Smite 2 Alpha tournament on Smite Game. I very much encourage you to watch, and should be a great tournament next